It's your girl Creole. Let's go. It's your girl Creole. It's your boy Retro. It's your boy Retro. It's your boy. It's your boy Retro. Retro. It's your boy. It's your boy. It's your boy. It's your boy Retro. Retro. Let's go. It's Creole. Let's go. It's Creole. Let's go. Your girl Creole. Let's go. Your girl Creole. Oh yeah. It's your girl Creole. Let's go. It's your girl Creole. It's your boy Retro. It's your boy Retro. But yeah.
All right. This is another episode of All But Yeah. I am your host, Retro.
And I'm your girl Creole. What?
Nothing. Anyway, y'all, we have a special guest on with us today, hailing from Canada. Canada. I don't know that song.
I don't know it either, so but I'm learning.
You'll want to. We got Mr. Spyder. Is it Spyder?
Yes,
or
sir.
Spiders?
Spider.
I mean, how you forget that?
Man,
Why would I be spiders? Why would I be multiple?
Why you got an Android? People do weird things.
That's such a weird thing.
It's not.
I mean, it's one of the most inconsequential things ever. It doesn't matter.
Yes, it does matter. You should see the group text messages when they do family shit and they be like, all right, who got the fucking Android? Who's fucking this
It's been
up?
like that forever. BJ's had an Android.
Yeah, and you see how nobody wants to talk to BJ either.
Yeah, he still interjects himself in the conversation anyway. So
Exactly.
Very much so.
Why don't everybody just download the Facebook app? No, I don't want to do that. I want to be able to send you a fucking picture and don't look like it's fucking Minecraft.
well, they fixed that.
What they did?
Yeah,
The videos have been a lot better recently.
Oh.
Apple and Android have come to a bit of an agreement with RCS messaging. So
About fucking time.
I think it should be. It's never going to be perfect. I know that, but I think it is a lot better than what it used to be.
It's grown. Gotcha. So how's the weather up there right now, man?
Right now, it's I forgot I gotta convert it to Fahrenheit for y'all.
God damn, man. You switched over that fast? Shit.
Dude, I've been here for 10 months.
Damn.
Exactly. It's not even been a year yet. You talk, I got converted to Fahrenheit for you. You guys use the metric and you ain't down there with what's going on?
Entire
Everybody
world
uses metric but us.
The United States is the only one that doesn't.
As you can see.
And I think maybe one other country, but I might be wrong.
That's probably
Russia.
No, I think even they use metric. Nah, U.S. just got to be different.
Got to.
man, that's their problem now.
We're the younger sibling that thinks we know everything and just like,
Right.
It's like no, I refuse.
We did not. Hey. This is not a political podcast today, okay?
There's nothing political about it. That's just America in general.
Yeah, I mean that's just facts.
That's
No,
just
but it's like about 67 right now.
Oh, okay. Nice.
So nice and cool, a little breezy.
Yeah, breezy.
Well, it snowed like I sent a picture to
like
to
a
Creole.
week or two ago, huh?
Yeah, about a week ago.
Jeez Louise.
It was snowing. They actually it was about a week ago. They had a little bit of like just flurry, like a wintry mix, like at the end of last week.
About
But
a week ago.
It should be done. We probably still get to some single digits later on. Let me see. Yeah, the lows are still in the single digits.
Single
So-
digits.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Shit, man, that fucking humidity hit all asses
Well,
now.
then again, that's single
I would
digits
imagine.
Celsius, right?
Yeah, single digits Celsius. But yeah, so you like
Because 0 Celsius
the
is like
lows.
32 Fahrenheit.
Yeah, 0 Celsius is 32. And so the trick that I've learned for converting Celsius to Fahrenheit or Fahrenheit to Celsius, however you want to do it, is that you're starting at freezing, so which is 0 degrees Celsius, 32 degrees Fahrenheit. for every 5 degrees that you increase or decrease in Celsius, that's another 9 degrees that you increase or decrease in Fahrenheit. So 5 degrees Celsius, you add 5 to 0, and then you just add 9 to 32. So 5 degrees Celsius is the same thing as 41 degrees Fahrenheit.
Let me tell you something. It's Saturday fucking morning. I ain't called for no damn math lessons.
Listen, you asked about the weather. I'm telling you about the weather.
That was a science lesson.
Fuck it. I ain't know. I could.
They don't come to all but yeah to learn.
Nope.
Of course they do.
We do not. We do not. No, we don't implement teaching on learning. You just go for it. When all followers and listeners take things for face value. If we say that's what it is, then that's what it is. Straight up. They should.
They should.
If I tell them don't look up, guess what? They better not fucking look up.
That's cold.
You always got your rebels.
Well, guess what? They could go to Joe Rogan with that shit. Go listen to his goddamn podcast. Not here, baby.
I mean, I'm sure that they probably do. No, you know what? I would imagine that there's not a big overlap between Joe Rogan and all, but yeah.
I'm just saying, man. Look, I'm like that daddy. Do as I say, not as I do type shit. That's how I am.
That's what a lot of people think they are, but these people these days, they just
I don't think
they're looking for something to harp on and follow.
That's what I am.
It's a weird time.
That's why I am. So what's been going on with you, man? How's marriage? How's living in Canada? How's all that treating you?
No, everything's been good. Everything's been great. No, life is good. I mean, you say we're not going to get political, so I won't get political.
He's not here, so that's why.
Fuck it. Fuck it. That's one thing about us, though, man. I'm willing to I'm willing to go down any avenue. Dark ones, scary ones with lights, no lights. So fuck it. Go ahead. What you gonna say?
But for my well-being, I'm not trying to stress myself out going through all of that. But no, I mean, everybody knows what's going on in the world, so there's no disillusion to just because it's happening in the U.S. that it's not affecting other people worldwide. So we're feeling the effects of that, and then we have our own political parties. We have a election coming up for the prime minister. So
you're
dealing with
that?
I can't, but and my wife was explaining it to me yesterday. It's not in the sense of you vote for the prime minister, but you vote for your elected officials in your area, and then the party who holds the majority that
they vote.
Just like seats in the Senate.
They pick their leader, yeah.
Right. Yeah. So if the majority of the nation elects conservative representatives, then the conservative leader will be appointed as the prime minister, and the same thing with the liberals. So it's different, but it's interesting learning about the way that the politics operate up here versus how they were in the U.S.
I think that's how most of Europe operates too.
Yeah.
It's whoever has the ruling party, and then they pick who the prime minister is.
Right.
But the cool thing is they have a vote of no confidence and kick you out and say we need somebody else. Because that has been happening a lot lately. That's what I've been learning.
I don't know. People have just been losing their minds.
Because that's how Boris Johnson got outed.
Right.
And the woman behind her and the woman behind him, they got booted 2 months into her tenure.
Yeah.
She had one failed bill and it was out.
Nope. Get out of here. We ain't dealing with it. So no, there's just it seems like there's a particular side that has decided that they want to try to fast track being the worst person possible, and just get rid of anything and everything that allows equality and equity and representation. And if it falls under those things, it's no, we don't want any part of it.
So let me ask you this: has the tariff fucked up with some shit up there with y'all guys? Or are you seeing some of all things being pulled from your
There's
shelves and
Yeah, they've been trying to shy away from American made products just to encourage people to purchase more Canadian
Yeah, they packed up all the Jack Daniels.
creative things.
oh my god,
Yeah, alcohol was probably one of the first ones
motherfucker,
to start
I
getting taken off the shelves.
don't I'm American. I don't drink Jack Daniels.
You do know you gotta like stop that, right? Like it's recording.
Well, how can I stop that? I'm on the. What you want me to do?
Send them the voicemail.
It's
But they
Jamal
gotta,
try to FaceTime me.
Oh,
So,
tell them you're busy.
man, it's like telling the child go to sleep. You know, you
Trying to
don't
get on
listen.
the game.
You don't listen.
Oh, what y'all been playing?
You already know what we've been playing.
Fortnite, man. What else
Oh.
do we play?
I'm just saying,
Some
it might have been something different. They got other games been coming out.
Fuck no, this is a
We gotta pay for
Fortnite
that.
house. This is a Fortnite
Not if you pay.
household.
Not if you pay for Game Pass.
But that's like once every couple months, and it's like what, $15?
Yeah, I think so. I think if you pay for monthly, I think yeah, it's like
Look, man, we're training for the
$15 a month.
Fortnite tournament, okay?
okay.
So
I don't
it's
know
What
what
y'all
I'm
stats looking
playing.
like? What your KDs looking like?
First of all, I don't know none of the shit you're talking about, but we win some, we lose some.
Hey, you gonna compete in a tournament and you don't know what your KDs are?
First of all, that's what killed something.
Kill director. Your kill
Kill
death
death
ratio.
ratio.
I don't kill death ratio. It's probably not good because our strategy is we ride it out and we third party motherfuckers.
I mean, that's a legitimate strategy. A lot of people do that.
Yeah.
But if you're gonna run up on somebody, you gotta land your shots.
Oh yeah, most definitely, most definitely. I have a Fortnite movie. I have 2 versions that I would love to get this put together. So I told Creole, I say we should do one with all the people who we play with currently, which is my cousin, one of his friends who lives in fucking Georgia, and we never met him, but cool as can be. Gave money for the wedding and everything, and
That's what's up.
yeah, and my cousin Boop, he plays. Now he streams sometimes and shit. But I say
Okay.
I say we should we should make a Fortnite movie where it's like, hey, we we played in like, oh man, I heard that there's a Fortnite tournament, man. The prize is $20 million. And like, man, we could, man, I think we're good enough to sign up. So of course we signed up and do the little first round. We beat some little kids and shit, whatever. I'm like, yeah, fuck y'all. And we qualified for it. And it's like out there in fucking California or some shit, wherever they be putting the shit at. And, Mike is like the fucking alternate because we already got 4. Me, Creole, my cousin Jamal, and Boop. Mike is the alternate because Mike is that fucking player who don't listen. He's the rogue motherfucker. Yeah. He's the one who's
He's
like,
the one that's always trying to push teams by himself.
Where you at? Or
across the board.
I'm looking for the right gun, and there's is always something. And he always spends the money on the new skins and the dances and all that shit. So I say in the movie we playing. We get to the match and we in the final round, and like I fucking. I go get a soda from the vending machine, and there's a give in. I hit it, I hurt my hand, and Mike has the substitute for me, and everybody like, oh man, we ain't gonna win. Mike ain't gonna come through, and sure enough, Mike comes through at the end of the game, and boom, we win, and we win the money. So that's my first version of it. Then the other version is, I thought about it, but I'm like, man, there's too many movies like this already, where kind of like.
Jumanji.
Like Jumanji, except we playing Fortnite, and they always have an update. So we be like, okay, man, I gotta update my system. Fuck around with the update. The update puts us in the game, and we are whoever our characters are. Wherever skins we purchase, that's the That's the you see and hear our voices in these skins and shit, right? So it's like, oh shit, man, this shit for real, man. And motherfucker, you could die. You got hope that motherfucker hurry up and get your card before it expires and all that shit. And
It's probably coming. Since the Minecraft movie is out now, Fortnite one is probably not too far around the corner.
Man, fuck that. They need our version, man.
Because it's just like
better.
Ready Player One, where you have, I mean, essentially that's
pretty much
how Fortnite has been operating. You have all of these characters from all of these different properties coming together in one game. And yeah, it would probably just be similar to something like that. But if you're going to do something like that and make that into a movie, then you got to have money to license all of those characters to get them into the film.
Man, that's motherfucker. I'm giving you free advertisement. Fuck all that.
You think that Microsoft and Bungie are going to let you use Master Chief in your Fortnite movie and saying that you're giving them free advertisement?
Well, we won't
and
use
that's
Master Chief.
Okay.
They're fucking around, and I use all stock fucking Fortnite skins.
Oh Lord.
Ain't nobody gonna want to see that.
No, nobody want to see the stock characters.
If people hear a Fortnite movie, they are going to want to see all of their favorite characters. They're gonna want to see Goku. They're gonna want to see fucking Naruto. They're gonna want to see fucking
Mortal
Batman
Kombat and Spider-Man and
all of that. Fuck them, and fuck the Christmas trees. I'm
about to say the movie definitely has to share in my anger for anybody who runs around in Christmas skins year round. I don't know why that angers me so much.
Yeah, I gotta just find out who I need to, like, who do I go talk to try to get this shit as a screenplay and put together and shit.
I mean, once you have you gotta talk to somebody who writes screenplays if you want to get that idea and get it fleshed out and kind of work on that together.
Yeah,
and get your story all planned out, and then shop it around the studio, see who wants to pick it up.
Because one thing Tyler Perry has taught us is don't
works.
write it by yourself.
I don't know.
Yes, don't write it by yourself.
Don't write it by yourself. That's one thing Tyler Perry has taught us. You need someone going, yeah, maybe we should change this.
Right.
It needs to be a collaborative effort.
No, I ain't got no problem with that.
And I feel like a lot of these bigger movies that are coming out these days have like writing teams. Like you hear about Lord and Miller and Marcus McFeely and like all of these, the Wachowskis, all of these people who are doing these projects together. Yeah, the Coen brothers, right. And it's like, maybe that is the way to do it, because you have somebody not only who knows you, but then also has an opinion that's different enough to where you can bounce ideas off of each other, come to a collaborative consensus, and then at the end of the day still be like, this is clearly a thing that was both of ours. It wasn't just, this one person was writing it and the other person just agreed to it.
Because your strength might be their weakness. So
right.
Did you have any movies that you ever wanted to put together? And
no, back in elementary school, I kind of did the creative writing thing where I was trying to like put ideas to paper and trying to come up with some type of fictional stories to not necessarily go anywhere, but just to see if I had that like in me, because sometimes people, it's a part of them. They can crank out like, not even if it's like a full book, but like short stories and stuff like that. And I created some stuff. I wrote some things. I had some ideas that I put to paper, but that was never really something that I envisioned myself doing.
It's funny that you say that. When I was in college, first of all, I hate fucking English classes because English is a biased subject. It is. Because it's like, okay, I want you to read a comprehension. I understand. You read this. Okay, you read it. Tell me what you think this is about. Cool. But when you sit here, I want you to do a research paper. I want you to read this. And I want you to write your thoughts and And you do that shit and you cite all the where you got this information from and all that bullshit. And you get a motherfucking C. Talking about, well, I feel like, when you say I feel like, that means fuck you. Because that's what you feel like. Because my issue is when I was in high school, C. I go to college. I take remedial English. I don't know why you in this class. You're a great writer. Go to another college. Fucking teachers like, man, you horrible. Go to another college. When I was at Nunez, there was this old white woman. I forgot her name. Damn. And I was thinking English 1. And I was like, hey, can I use curse words in my writing? And she's like, what you mean? I said, can I use some vulgar language? She said, as long as it's tasteful. Oh, bet. Man, A plus, A.
That was the only thing that was holding you back?
Obviously, because shit, I was getting A's on them papers. And she was like, she wanted me to take her creative writing class. I'm like, well, I don't need that class. I'm telling you, you'd be so good at it. You should really consider. Like, this motherfucker loved my writings. You hear me? She, like, when it was time to turn the paper in, she was excited to see. And she was like, you so, just how you put, how you say things, makes me imagine it, like, real time. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool, whatever. But no, I don't. I like writing. I'm gonna take this back. I like storytelling, but for you to get me to write it, no, because like I say, I know my grammar and even the way I talk it be wrong half the time. But if I got somebody to clean it up for me, then
yeah,
cool.
And that's the purpose of having a writing team and also having an editor.
And that's why today's episode is brought to you by Grammarly.
Grammarly.
I use Grammarly pretty much on all my job applications.
Boy, hush, they're not paying us.
Well, I'm just going to start putting it in now. I use it for my job applications, writing letters, emails, that and Chat GPT. I actually use Chat GTP, then I put it in through Grammarly to make sure.
GPT?
Chat GPT.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, that's what I said.
You said GTP.
It's not.
Any fucking way, they know what it is. See, people, that's why I use Grammarly to correct those things. But yeah, man, like I said, man, fuck English. I'm gonna have to just, like you said, find me a writing team and be like, hey, bro, this is my idea. I'm gonna write, I'm gonna spit it, you write it, clean it up, and we go from there.
That's how it should be.
I mean, and realistically, like we were taught, like writing essays due to MLA format and all this other kind of stuff. And outside of educational works and research papers, format really doesn't come into play. Essay format, I should say. Yeah, you still have to be grammatically correct and everything.
The
and
simple shit, yeah.
Right.
Write a complete sentence.
Yeah.
A verb, yeah,
exactly.
those
Complete
things.
thought, yeah.
But when you talk about Emily, I never went nowhere as, Rev, could you resend this email because you didn't write in the right MLA format? Like, fuck you. Isn't there two of them, MLA?
Yeah, and then
and American Standard or some shit?
Something like that, yeah.
I can't tell you the last time I wrote a paper. So
Exactly.
I do not know. I know MLA, but that's about it.
Just at work, we were talking about the Oxford comma.
Oh God.
What's the Oxford comma?
So it's how they teach you how to use commas in school when you talking about like a number of things.
A series of
things. And you
So
put
you put
you put the comma before and when you get ready to finish it.
Or yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, you put the comma before and?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I thought when you about to end it, you don't even put a comma after that. I thought
And see, that was the
That's the
discussion.
Oxford comma, yeah.
So in journalism, we don't use we don't use the Oxford comma.
That's when you put the comma before the and?
Before the and.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yeah. And so because it doesn't show up. It doesn't show up well. Like when you write on web and all that stuff, if you notice, they don't use it.
Shit, no,
And
that's
so my
crazy looking.
coworker was like, "Yeah," she was like, "This is a debate I always have with my fiance who's a lawyer, because he's like, what do you mean you don't use an Oxford comma?" Because that's been drilled into his head that when he writes like his legal briefs and all that stuff like that, he has to use an Oxford comma.
Yeah, no.
And so to find out that she doesn't use it in journalism, he was like, "What do you mean?" She was like, "It's a debate all the time."
Yeah, no, I never seen that before. I also understood that when you get ready to end it, you don't put no comma before the and. It's just, red, blue, white, and red, comma, blue, comma, white, comma, green, and yellow.
Right.
No commas. That's crazy. No. No.
Isn't there like some kind of stipulation to where even if you don't use Oxford comma, if it's, and I'm guessing for legal briefings and stuff like that, because you may have a series of items that are like combined. Like say for example, I went to the store to get pens and paper, a desktop monitor, and just because you have things that are like included together.
Right.
And so when you have an and that's part of the series,
Right.
then when you get to that last item of the series before your conjunction, then that's when you'll put that Oxford comma, because you have to differentiate between where your combined items are versus your next item in the series.
Yeah, I think because if it's something like, I guess you said like red beans and rice, you would have to put a comma, before, so that red beans and rice is together.
It's all together,
Yeah.
right?
Like red beans and rice is the one thing by itself.
Well,
we're getting hella nerdy right now.
I know, right? We
well,
started with Fahrenheit and Celsius, and now we're talking about conjunction.
So this is my
comma.
question is, so like you say, red bean and rice, instead of sometimes though, I know that when like you say, like red bean and rice, that's one thing.
That's one thing.
But when it comes to things like that, I don't use the word and. I use the ampersand. I mean, not the ampersand.
No.
I use the symbol.
Oh, the symbol for and.
Does that count though?
Yeah, it's an ampersand.
Oh, it's ampersand? Okay. But does that count though?
Yeah, I mean,
Because
you probably would still want to put a comma.
No, I wouldn't though. See, and another thing is, when do you use, or when don't you use the actual number when you're writing? Like instead of writing.
Oh,
third,
that's a whole.
or,
that's a whole other
talking,
thing.
Are we talking AP style?
Thank you.
Are we
talking AP style? Or are we talking about like? I was just gonna say.
You're talking to two journalists here, so.
Are you talking journalism, or are you talking like reports?
I don't know. So what's the rules behind that?
So in journalism, any number before 10, you use the word. And
1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah. And so when you
get to
the double
and thirds and stuff like that, though.
Well, it also depends. It depends on where it's coming in a sentence. It depends on if the actual proper title of that, say for example, if you're talking about First National Bank, right? You will put first as a word because that's the proper title of that, business. But if it's like First Annual, well, not First Annual because it'd never be First Annual, it's be inaugural. But like Second Annual,
that's
then
that's a whole nother argument we have at work.
But like Second Annual, you would probably use the number two. But if it's at the beginning of a sentence, then you would use the word and not the number.
Well, yeah, that I kind of grasp that.
Yeah, so it really depends on what the situation, what it is that you're writing, and like we said, if you're using AP style, or if you're using a different style, because even in the military had different. We didn't write AP style just like basic AP style for AP journalism. We had a series of we had a style guide particularly for the military. So it taught us about how to write ranks, how to write units, how to write unit numbers. Because if you say this battalion is the first of the 141st field artillery, you wouldn't write any of that in words. You would write it as the numerical moniker. But if you're talking about if you're using it sort of informally, it's like all of it is different ways to write it, different ways to add abbreviations. So there are a lot of, this is why people who come to the United States hate English, because there's so many rules about everything, and they're so specific to certain conditions that it can trip up a lot of people who are English ESL speakers.
Sorry, guys. If y'all heard that chirping in the background, that is my fire alarm, so you can know that I am African American. Just one.
You got to keep it on just so they can know.
I don't purposely keep it on, but I'm just, it's just it's a black thing. So pay no mind to it, people. Don't worry about the man behind the curtain. But yeah, man, I don't blame them, man. We have too many fucking rules when it comes to writing and all that dumb shit. That's why it's like, Jesus.
But I will say, as far as like term papers and essays and stuff like that, yeah, when I was in school, I hated them too. But what I came to realize as I got older was that was supposed to be a way for us to get in the habit of researching things. Not only, reading in order to understand, like if it's a book report, right? It's us reading to understand the material, not just to consume the material, not just read it to read it. We're understanding what we're reading. We're understanding what the author's intentions are behind the words, if there's any symbolism, any allegories, all that other kind of stuff. And research papers, you cite your references to show that what I'm putting in this paper isn't just stuff that I made up, or it's not just half truths or anything like that. These are. And that was the whole thing with back when we were in school, you couldn't use Wikipedia as a source because Wikipedia is something that's crowdsourced. It's people coming to a site and putting in information.
We was in high school.
Wikipedia was around in college, though.
Right, college, yeah. But you talking about high school, you had an encyclopedia. I remember going by my grandmother's house and getting my information out of that shit.
Oh, we also had Ask Jeeves.
Yeah, Ask Jeeves. You had
I'm talking about before the internet. Y'all talking about internet. I'm talking about
we had the internet in high school.
I understand you had it in junior high or middle school.
Hey,
yeah.
When did the internet in and of itself, the way it is today, probably came to prevalence in the early 2000s, like 2001, 2000. Well, I would say probably like late 90s, because they were all freaking out when
the
Y2K. Yeah. Because they were thinking that everything was going to shut down.
Yeah, but that's the thing. When I was in school, we never used, even on the internet, we never used that to do research. We still went to the library.
And I did.
And used the index card catalog, find the books that you're going to use. Yeah, we still
Dewey
use
Decimal
it.
System.
Yeah, we, no kids don't know what the fuck that is nowadays. I don't even know they even still have that shit, to be honest.
Sure
the greatest thing in the world
they do in the library.
Okay. The greatest thing we had was when Encyclopedia Britannica was on CD.
Yep, I had that.
Oh, yeah.
You get to click on it, show you pictures.
Watch videos.
Watch videos. I'm like, oh, shit. That shit was so cool.
Lord knows how many times me and Monique watched the Hindenburg crash.
Why?
And see, that's the thing about it.
Because it was fascinating to see how fast it burned, and to actually see it in action as opposed to a picture.
All right.
And to see like that, to see a video so old, Like, it was crazy.
Y'all look at this shit.
Yeah, because you read about it and you try to imagine what it's like, but then when you especially like something like the Hindenburg crash, you see that for the first time, and you're like,
and growing up
words
as
don't do it justice.
Well, in your mind as a kid, like back then, it was like they didn't have TV or video. It was all radio and newspaper. Like,
Yeah.
and so to actually see a video from that far back and be like, oh, damn, okay.
And to hear the guy on the broadcast, oh, the humanity.
Right.
It's just
Oh, the
like, that's something that just
humanity.
sticks with you forever.
Facts. That, the Challenger blowing up, like,
Hmm.
they had all of those videos.
Yeah.
That was our doom scrolling before social media.
Doom scrolling.
Just
In fact,
watching.
I tell people all the
disasters.
time, a lot of these, I always have to explain to my dad. He's like, what is this? I'm like, the term is new. The action is not. I promise you.
Yeah.
I think we were discussing hangry. He was like, what is hangry? I was like, it's when you're annoyed with everything because you're hungry. And then once you eat, you feel better. He's like, oh yeah, that's all the time. I was like, yeah, the word is new. The action isn't new.
It's been there.
Like, we didn't make up the action. We just finally gave it a name.
Yeah. That's why Gen Z and Gen Alpha think they invent everything.
Right.
Because it's like, oh, well, you didn't call it anything before we started saying this. We're like, well, yeah, we didn't call it something, but it was still a
it was
thing.
still a thing. Like,
So then, what gen are we in?
we're millennials.
We're
Gen
millennials?
Y.
You're
Okay.
millennials.
I'm a
yes.
millennial.
We're Gen
Oh,
Y.
yeah, nigga, what are you?
No, he
What
said
do you
we're
mean?
millennials.
Oh, I thought
I
you
said
said
we're.
Oh, I thought you said you're like you fucking.
No,
something else.
we are millennials. Bum, ba-dum, bum, 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 bum.
I mean, I feel like we're the best out of all these motherfuckers. To be honest.
I mean, every generation thinks they're the best.
No, but let's be honest. We are the best out of all of them because we know how to do shit
We had
prior
the
to
best of both
technology,
worlds.
and we know how to do shit with technology.
Yeah,
Like, I'm
we
not
also
old.
have the worst of everything too.
But no, yeah, we fucked though. Don't get me wrong. We fucked, but it's not to our doing. We're fucked because the older motherfuckers fucked us.
I think we, as a generation, have the best learning capabilities because
do.
we were taught on an analog system, but grew up in the digital age as it was developing. So, yeah, the generations after us probably have a easier time grasping new technologies.
Man,
But
they fuck when that
we're-
shit falls.
If all of this fails, millennials
Right.
will be the only ones to survive.
Right.
Exactly.
We would know how to. We would know how to still survive. We would be
fucking
able to
exactly.
be
The shit.
okay.
That shit amazes me. Like, I see these kids, you know, these little kids with tablets and on their phone. I'm like, let me tell you something, you little motherfuckers. When I went to church, I had nothing to play with, but look right fucking in front of me and eat a fucking strawberry candy. That's it. Y'all little
No, we had
spawn
peppermints.
motherfuckers. Just, it makes me sick.
Bruh, all the black people so my side hustle in retail, I'm not gonna say where I work, but my manager puts out a candy, she has like a little basket that she puts candy on the counter, and she found the old strawberry candy. When I tell you,
Really?
every black person and even some white people walking, they go, "Oh my God, I haven't seen these in forever." Between that and she found cream savers at like the Dollar Tree. or something
Cream
like that.
savers.
She found cream,
Yes.
and I mean not the cheap ones, like actual
Cream
lifesaver
savers, yeah.
cream save.
My grandma had those, the strawberry ones when they came out.
She has the strawberry,
The strawberry
and the
was the
orange.
best.
Yeah.
She has the strawberry and the orange. And when I tell you, people are like, "Oh my God, can I have one?" She's like, "Go ahead, take one." "Oh, I haven't had these in forever. Where you found these? Don't gatekeep."
Yeah, because it's so funny because like you can, I remember seeing cream savers in the store, but I never like the
They
strawberry candies.
discontinued. I don't know where the hell you get the strawberry candies at.
Exactly.
Mama
It's like
just had 'em.
You gotta
saw
order
them.
those.
They just appeared. It's
Mama
like
just had them. It was like, where did you get
reached a
these?
certain age and they gave you like a supply of it, and then that was it. You couldn't buy it from the store.
Oh man. But yeah,
There
the
you go, my
excitement
child.
on everyone's face, like they turn into kids when they see that mess. They look at him like,
That's
"Oh
crazy.
my God."
I saw a TikTok. This guy, what he does is he just puts different food items into alcohol and let it like soak for a week.
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, and I think he put cream savers in vodka. I want to say
Ooh, Lord.
it was a clear alcohol. It had to be either vodka or gin. I want to say it was vodka because I think it was something that didn't really to have a big flavor profile prior
For
to.
itself, yeah.
Yeah, and I want to try that, but like you said, you can't find cream savers anymore.
Right.
So
Well, if I find you
I'm
some,
gonna need you to snatch some from your boss
I'm gonna
and
actually
just
I'm gonna
kind of
give her
hold
some
them on the
money and
side.
ask her to buy me a bag
Yeah,
and we'll
and
mail
get
it to
strawberry
you.
cream savers and we'll put it into some vodka.
yeah, just let it sit in there for a bit because it'll all melt away. But then once you mix that stuff up, it looks. I mean, in theory, I would imagine that it tastes good.
See, that's what these youngsters don't know about either. Before they had all these flavored vodkas, we had to flavor the vodka ourselves.
Hello.
We had
Exactly.
to put Jolly
We
Ranchers
were the
in them.
ones that started putting Skittles in vodka
Right,
and
Jolly
Starburst.
Ranchers and all that
Yeah.
stuff.
Those were the days. Where is your wife?
Physically here in the living room.
Yeah, me physical. What the fuck? Not spiritually. The fuck?
I mean, you never know.
What,
Where is your wife emotionally right now?
emotionally right now? Where is she? Well, make sure you tell her we say hello.
I will. I'll let her know.
But yeah, man. Everything's going shit in the handbasket right now. So it's just
We just gonna drink.
It's
our
like
way through it,
watching-
so.
it's like watching a trail, like a pale. Hold on, let me make sure I say this right. It's like watching a garbage pail set on fire, and it's just, oh, look at that little fire right there. I don't think nothing of it. And next thing you know, you burnt down fucking 50 acres because you just left
Yeah.
it untamed. So I'm just watching it, man. I'm watching from the sidelines with my stick and my marshmallows, ready to make s'mores. Ready to make s'mores. And then I ain't gonna say names, but I have a relative that keeps vexing me, talking about, yeah, man, have your passport. We're going to have to go to Canada. We're going to go to Canada. And I was saying, motherfucker, you can't even go to Baton Rouge, but you gonna talk about going to fucking Canada. I'm not going to no goddamn Canada. Like, chill out. Okay? Chill out. I'm not leaving shit. Fuck. I pay taxes in this raggedy motherfucker. I ain't going nowhere. They gonna fix it. Fix it. Shit.
We'll see.
We shall see.
But in case I do have to go to Canada, what place do you suggest for one of my nature to go to?
I mean, that really just depends on like what your preference is, like what type of area you want to be in. Like if you want to
No black.
say I'm done because there, at least where I am, there's a lot of immigrants in the city where we are
I don't
right
have
now.
problem with
And so
immigrants.
it's but
Yeah.
it's a very
It's diverse,
multicultural
yeah.
space, and you can it's very diverse.
There's a lot of Haitians up
Um,
there. That's what I heard.
Honestly, I couldn't tell you, because I don't know where everybody is from as far as their country of origin. It could be Haitian, it could be Nigerian, who knows? But I will tell you that there are some jerk chicken places.
there you
So
My
I
coworker
imagine that
is
there's some of them up
from
here.
Toronto by way of Trinidad, so
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So, but if you like, say for example, if you want to be in an urban area, then you might want to stay a little bit closer to the U.S. border. You have a lot of those borders. Well, not like close to the border, but a few hours away from it.
I don't
You
want
get your
urban.
major metropolitan cities.
I don't want
You
urban.
want somewhere where like you're in the mountains?
I don't want I want a nice countryside. Just chill.
I mean, there's plenty of that.
Okay. Then.
I
just
mean,
know
you
we're gonna be
pick
growing
your
our
city.
own food.
Whatever. Oh,
But no,
cool.
you pick your city. There's you any direction you go, you'll find a place that's just a little bit more spread out. Because where we are, you take about a 20-minute drive in any direction. Well, not any direction, but you take a 20-minute drive outside the city, you'll get to some areas that are a little bit more open. The neighborhood itself is a little bit more sparse. So it really is just depending on what it is that you want. You'll be able to find it somewhere. If you want rednecks, they got rednecks up here too. So
Come on.
yeah, there's a whole province that's known for being a bit right leaning. And so it's been called the Florida of Canada. So
The Florida of Canada. Jesus Christ.
yeah.
Oh God. Bad salsa no.
You know what? I don't know.
There's
I would
a,
have to ask and
there's
see.
a Canadian Florida man up there.
There may be. There may be.
Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, we had a new story about the Canadian Florida man. Yeah.
Like, what happened with Florida Man? Because there was a point in time where you could not read an article, you could not watch a news broadcast where there was not something happening in Florida that just made you be like, what the fuck is happening in Florida? And what are these people on to where they're wilding out like this?
I'm gonna tell you what probably happened. We are now at a place where it started off as like there's really some weirdos in Florida to now it's just, oh, that's Florida.
Yeah.
And I think we've just got to a point where the crazy that happens in Florida, everyone just goes, it's Florida.
That's Florida.
And so it doesn't faze anyone anymore. There's
That's
still very
crazy.
much a ton
That's
of Florida
crazy that
man
we've gotten
stories. But
so
now
used to that.
we've written Florida
that's
off
what
as just being the state of crazies.
Yeah.
You know what?
That is
I'm
wild.
gonna have to
They get that fresh cocaine out there, that's why.
fresh cocaine. Straight off
They
That
That
could explain a lot of the behavior.
That good uncut cocaine coming through Florida.
cocaine.
Because what was that? That was like 20, 21, 22 when they had all that cocaine washed up on the beach.
Something
That's
like
not
that.
cocaine.
And remember they also had like the turtle that was like tangled up in like a net that had and dragging a bunch of cocaine.
Yeah. Yeah.
God damn. Turtle was getting high?
The turtle was the drug mule.
The turtle. Yeah, but I said the turtle was drug running. That's what it was. That's how you get past customs. Attach it to a turtle. and
Like
let
they framed
go.
it as like, oh, the turtle accidentally got tangled. It's like, yeah, that's what you think.
Okay.
Follow
They
that.
intentionally had that turtle.
Follow those bricks after they made it to shore. See what happened to them.
Right.
Are they in evidence lockup? I don't think so.
Since we talk about Florida man, I just typed in Google to see anything pop up recently. 2 hours ago, Florida man busted on Amtrak train with small arsenal of weapons. Huh.
Yeah, that's about. I mean, honestly, that could be. He could have been from anywhere.
That could have been Texas.
Texas, Alabama.
No, he said Florida man brought luggage full of guns aboard an Amtrak train in New Jersey. Grand jury. Florida man.
They told him he couldn't fly with it, so he like, bet I'll take a train.
That's it.
That sounds like the logic behind that too.
Bombs, trains, and airplanes.
Fuck it, I'm gonna take the train the good old fashioned way. Oh Lord. And now we have a train line connected to Alabama. It's gonna get interesting.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I took a train for the first time. When was it? After we got back from your wedding, I think.
Oh really?
Yeah, we had to go to Toronto for work. My wife had to do something for work. She had a like a conference or a meeting or something that we had to go to Toronto for, and we just didn't want to drive because after we had got back, because I think we flew out of Toronto.
Oh right.
No, where did we? I don't remember how we did so much traveling in that just little span
Little
of time.
right? Because then y'all came back for
Yeah.
New Year's.
Right, and then we also had left because we had went on a cruise. I'm blanking. All
Oh yeah,
that. So
y'all
we
did
went
go on a cruise. Yeah.
Yeah, we came down for the wedding in October, then we went on a cruise in November, and then we came back for New Year's Eve. So yeah, whatever was happening, we just didn't feel like driving, so we took the train, and so it was a nice little train ride.
I'm gonna ride
Do
that
y'all?
train
Is it the
and
chugga chugga
ride.
like
Woo,
what we
woo.
have, or is it like a little faster like in Europe?
It was kind of kind of like Amtrak. Yeah, it was
Uh,
essentially Amtrak. Yeah,
okay.
I don't think. Yeah, I don't think we have like light rail.
Oh
Excuse me,
Jesus.
up here or anything that fast. I would love it because it'd be
Oh,
great.
anybody who's ever taken light rail is like, this shit's ghetto.
Maybe one day. Maybe one day they'll grasp the concept and idea like, you know what, we can actually do this pretty much faster and more efficient.
Because, freshman year of college, I was taking the train home every weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And it took me 2 hours just to get from Hammond to New Orleans. And it's an hour-long drive.
Right.
And so then I go on a study abroad trip, and I'm going the same distance from
different
here
countries.
to Atlanta. The same distance of here to Atlanta in like an hour. And I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like I say, one day we might wake up and decide to take some of that knowledge from other countries and apply it over here. But I'm not gonna hold my breath.
In the
on that.
U.S., absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely
Because
not.
if we had light rail, I could go live in Baton Rouge and ride here and come here for work.
Right, and have a commute to New Orleans every day, and
That's only
it'd
like
be a
30
reasonable
minutes.
amount of time.
It'd be like 30
And
minutes.
You would think like, why wouldn't we do that? Why wouldn't that be a thing?
They've been trying to do that for a while. But like all the little
See,
towns
that's-
in between are like, no, we don't want y'all crossing through here.
Really?
I mean, the thing about it is like, it's not that there aren't already train tracks.
They worried New Orleans people are gonna start living in Donaldsonville. That's what they're worried about.
I mean,
Man, fuck that.
do we really want to live in Donaldsonville though?
Thank you.
Fuck Donaldsonville.
I mean, if anything, I'd take the light rail to go shop at the outlet and come back on the weekend. Shit.
Exactly. And not have to worry about sitting in that Baton Rouge traffic.
The light rail.
That's right.
That sound like some futuristic shit.
Yeah, it sounds futuristic, except Germany and the rest of Europe had that shit in the 80s.
Wow.
And
Do better, America.
what? Japan too?
Right. My parents were taking light rails when they were stationed in Germany in the early 80s. So, yeah, it sounds futuristic to us.
Right. We're just behind the times.
I heard somebody.
It's another Tuesday for them.
I heard that they've been taking light rails up the ass for the longest.
You so stupid.
That's what I heard.
Everybody else heavily relies on public transportation but us.
Right. And not even because there are some cities in the States that do have like good public transit.
But not
like-
like it is everywhere else. Like it's
Yeah, no,
it's
not like it
as
is everywhere else.
efficient. It's not as frequent. It's not as
Mm-hmm.
on time.
Because I mean, you look at cities where driving is less of a viable option,
Right.
and then you still have to get across town and everything. So
I heard
like
somewhere.
DC, New York, where you have the metro running and they have multiple lines. When I used to have to travel to DC for work, that was the only way that we got around. If we had to go to an agency that was in DC proper, like, yeah, just hop on the metro. And you have enough places, at least where we were staying, they have hotels that have metro stations in the hotel.
In the hotel,
So
yeah.
we didn't have to go outside and go walk to a metro station or anything like that. So there is some convenience in some cities, but then you have like New Orleans where we have RTA. And so you have a bus and a streetcar,
Right.
and good luck if it's coming on
time. Right. And New Yorkers say the same thing about the trains there. It's like, well, good luck if it's on
Yeah,
time.
and I mean, even up here, we have the old train, and anyone to tell you that it's not reliable.
Right.
Well, shit, made me lose my train of thought.
I see what you did there.
Boom. Motherfucker. Fuck, he'll come back to me. Anyway, fuck all this trains, planes, and
It's just
bombs. And
derailed. Sorry, I derailed you.
Bum. I actually have a pad somewhere.
Nope, that ain't it.
Nope, that wasn't it. Oh well. I gotta learn.
I mean, I feel like that's a good way to like segue to a different thought. Like, okay, topic change.
Topic change. Penises. Weird, right? I know.
I mean, yeah, they are weird.
Yeah. No, but what I wanted to talk to you about, because you're the big movie buff and everything. You saw the new trailer for Fantastic Four?
Yeah, we actually did a trailer reaction for it and put it out yesterday.
Oh, really? And what platform was this at on?
This was on YouTube and all podcast streaming platforms.
Oh, would you like to plug in the name?
Sure. So if you do like us, like movies.
Never mind. You're taking too long. Anyway, now I'm just playing. I'm just fucking with you. Go ahead.
No, but if you like movies of a certain genre in the not necessarily superhero scope, but just anything that's kind of action-packed, fantastical, something that's outside of the realm of human ability. Myself and my brother, we host a podcast called All Things Super, where each and every week we take superpower TVs, movies, trailers, we watch them, we react to them, we break them down, we review them, we ask the question, is it super? And so you can check that out on YouTube. Just go to youtube.com/allthing/@ I forgot they added the @ sign in the YouTube URLs now, but it's at All Things Super Podcast. And then in any podcast platform, just search for All Things Super. You'll be able to find us. We are the one with the big yellow ATS logo. So if you like that, check us out. If you want to subscribe. And just let us know what you think. We're always looking for feedback on everything that we do. If we're doing something and you like, hey, I love the show, but maybe if you do this, then you might draw up more audience or you might get more interaction. So we're still a fairly small podcast. So, we're always up for getting feedback and stuff like that.
I'll tell you right now, one thing is you don't have me on that motherfucker. So you might want to invite me on there once.
Because do you have a webcam?
I mean, I have one on my computer.
Okay, we'll go figure something out. We'll work something out. We'll see if we could get you both on one day.
No, not her, me.
Wow.
You want ratings? You need me. Okay. And you say it's All Things Super.
All Things Super.
All right. I wonder if somebody accidentally looking for a podcast called Ass, Tits, and Sex. And like, what the fuck? This ain't Ass, Tits, and Sex. I guess I'll listen to it. And like, man, I really like this podcast. I was looking for a podcast called Ass, Tits, and Sex, but I came across your guys and man, it's very interesting. Thank you. For real.
You know what? If we do have a listener or a viewer that was looking for that and they stumble upon our show, look, we'll welcome them with open arms.
Yeah, man, my name is Brian, and I was just looking for this podcast called Ass, Tits, and Sex. And
when I woke up this morning, this wasn't what I was expecting to listen to. But you know what?
It's pretty good. Do y'all ever think y'all might talk about ass, tits, and sex on him by any chance? No? Okay.
You know what? Depending on the movie that we watch or the TV show that we review, it might come up.
It might come up.
Never know. But you gotta keep listening to find out.
Right.
God damn, you son of bitches got me sold. I'm subscribed.
You son of a bitch. I'm in.
I'm in. Shit, this might be the episode, this one. Yeah, this Brian again. Look, y'all on episode 60.
You ain't talking about it this one. I was just wondering when y'all gonna get to it.
Yeah, I know episode 69 is coming up, and I'm kind of hoping it's gonna be a little ass on there, or tits or something. That's all. But I like the last one I did. Y'all boys been funny and say. So you say you're doing this with your brother?
Yes.
Man, that's nice. How is it like? How is it at working with your brother?
I mean, it's weird because I think it would be different if probably like we were in the same location.
Oh, of course, of course.
So, and like maybe because they say, you know, you got to be careful, like when you're going into business with close friends or family, anything like that. There might be you butt heads and it like strains the relationship and stuff like that. So you, of
Oh
course, you're trying to
yeah.
keep things professional. But this is a side hobby for the both of us. You know, this
Right.
isn't like at any stretch of the imagination or we're looking to have this be our main source of income. Look, if it turns out that way and we blow up and you're like, hey, you know what, we want to sponsor you or you want to join this podcast network and start doing this full time, if that's the way that it pans out, then all well and good. But for right now, this is something that we do for fun. We get on and we probably talk for 30 minutes to an hour before we even start recording because we're catching up, we're talking about other things that show up in the media.
Right, right.
And it's just, you know, it's fun. It's a way for us where we would normally, you know, talk about these things in an office with coworkers and get your thoughts and your ideas and stuff out like that, or, you know, meeting up with friends or family over drinks. You know how anytime we get together we start talking about it and we go through all of these conversations
Right.
and everything. So it's just cool to have somebody, you know, to be able to talk to and
But I think that makes
throw
it
around
easier because
theories
it's
and
a
ideas.
well, and I think that makes it a little easier too because it's a light. It's a discussion about something light and something that
Right.
you both share interest in, as opposed to like these like relationship podcasts and all this stuff like that where you're
Yeah.
debating and arguing all damn day.
Right. And then we're not like those other types of podcasts where our main purpose is to try to enrage people, right, with
Right.
our opinions. Like, if we think something is trash, we'll say it's trash. And like, if somebody agrees with us and disagrees with us on that, then, you know, that's your opinion. And we always say, like, this is the way that we feel about it. There's been plenty of times where we, you know, like I said, we ask a question at the end of every show or after we review something: is it super? Whether it's super, whether it's not, it's there's no set barometers. It's just about
Right.
how you feel about the movie. And so there's been plenty of times where I'll think something is super and he won't, or he'll think something is super and I will, or I won't. But it's really just being able to have that discussion. And there were a couple of times where we would have a discussion. You know, you watch it and then you have it made up in your mind whether you think it's super or not. And then just through us having a discussion, your opinions might get swayed one way or another. You're
Well,
like,
yeah.
oh, maybe I
Or maybe I
didn't
missed
think it
this
was
little
super, but after
I missed this
after
little
talking about
thing
it.
or that,
Mhm.
and now saying this, like, okay, I get your point.
Yeah, but we're not coming in because we just one of the movies that we reviewed was G20, which is on Prime Video.
Yeah.
Starring Viola Davis as she's playing the president of the United States, and it's a Die Hard style movie.
Mm-hmm.
But of course it has a female lead. It has a black person as a lead. You know, the main cast are black people. And so when we did the trailer reaction for it, I was just looking to see, because a lot of times when it comes to streaming movies that have trailers that come out, you don't have a lot of people doing reactions to it. So
Mhm.
those are some of the ones that get a little bit more attention on our channel. But for the people who had done trailer reactions, like, oh, this movie is automatically trash, who's asking for this, nobody wants to see this, all this other kind of stuff. And there's so many accounts and content creators out there who love to just take something and just immediately shit on it as soon as they see it.
Right.
And you look at the trailer for G20 and it looks exciting because, of course, trailers are created to entice a person to want to see the film.
Even though some of
So
them fail to do that, but yeah.
yes, they do. But so we saw the trailer and we're like, we like Viola Davis. We know she can do action. We've seen her in The Woman King. We've seen her, you know, we've seen her work. So we know that she's talented. Anthony Anderson is in it. Marseille Martin is in it. You know, Anthony Starr, who plays Homelander in The Boys. He's the main antagonist. And so we're like, we've seen his work. We know how deranged he can be.
Right.
And so you take a cast like that and then you put them all together and you throw the trailer together. And of course, it's an action movie, so it's all action packed in the trailer. Like, okay, this looks pretty good. Whether or not it's going to be good, it's yet to be seen. We have to watch the movie first. But we'll never be we'll never see something and look at it and like, oh, this is absolute trash. We look at the trailers like, oh, this is garbage, just because of who's in it,
Right.
just because who's starring in it. We've seen some trailers. I forget what the movie was that we reviewed the trailer for. We looked at it, we're like, I don't want to watch this movie because it doesn't look like it's going to be great. We'll check it out just to see if we're wrong, but we don't have high hopes for it.
Right.
And sometimes there are some movies that are like that, but as long as it gets a chance, you can't say that you don't like something if you've never seen it. And
there's a couple movies
we've gotten
where me and Raph have the trailer didn't sell us at all, and then when it came out on like HBO or whatever, we watched and was like, oh my god, the trailer did not do this movie justice.
Right.
Like, what is it? Was it Fall Guy, Nice Guy, the one with Ryan Reynolds?
Yeah,
but he's in the video game. I was like, the trailer did not
Fall
sell
Guy,
this
yeah.
Fall Guy.
Oh,
It was
Fall
like,
Guy.
trailer didn't sell that movie well at all. It's actually a
No.
really good movie.
First of all, I
and it's
want to
What's
say
up?
this. Fuck Viola Davis. I'm sick of her ass, okay?
Why?
Because you know what? When I saw the preview, when I saw that fucking movie come out, I just kept thinking about her in fucking Justice League. Not Justice, yeah. Justice
No,
League.
Suicide Squad.
No. She made a cameo in that shit.
Oh.
And
She's
fucking,
made a cameo in a few DC
Yeah,
movies.
and she always
But yeah,
popping up with that hard ass
Amanda Waller.
afro and just being a bitter bitch. And now she quit. She left Gotham and became the president. Now she out here kicking ass.
Yeah,
And like you said, she was in War King, Woman King, and
the
shit.
Woman King. Yeah,
And I'm like, stop being so rough, bitch.
She's done some really soft stuff.
Would that help?
No.
Either she's rough or she a motherfucking peasant. No. Fuck all that.
No.
I'm just
And
playing
what do
Viola
you?
Davis.
How do you?
I'm
How do you?
just
I'm about to say,
playing.
how do you explain How to Get Away with Murder?
Right.
I can get away with
He
murder.
hasn't watched How to Get Away with Murder. That's why.
Oh,
What was that?
That was the
It was a
television
TV
series she
show,
was
maybe
on
so.
where she was a lawyer.
Oh man, I don't do TV series like talking about.
Maybe she had the nice bags and the nice.
So she was like a Olivia Pope.
She was a professor and a lawyer. She was a defense lawyer,
Mm-hmm.
and she was a law professor.
I'm sure you've seen the
And
meme.
there is a crossover between How to Get Away with Murder and Scandal, because it was in the
course
same
it is.
universe and created by Shonda Rhimes. So
What you were saying, Spider?
No, I'm saying I'm pretty sure you've seen the meme of Viola Davis like grabbing her bag and like getting up and leaving. I think that came from How to Get Away with Murder.
yeah.
Yeah, I seen it. I seen that shit.
Well, he just like a half hour ago, he found out where the "I'm tired of this, Grandpa" came from. I just found out he's never seen Holes.
I think they're supposed to be remaking that.
No,
I think I
I
have
think
holes
they
in
are
it.
because they remake everything.
no, please don't.
Oh, they found
I was
hope
just
they
telling him how that was like one of the few perfect book to movie adaptations.
Yeah,
We're not talking about.
Holes was such a good
I
movie.
didn't. There was no holes in holes. There was holes.
There was holes in Holes.
There was no holes though.
No,
Why are you looking for holes
Holes
in
and
holes?
holes.
The movie is not holes.
Because I thought it was
no.
holes. That's what Brian told me.
Holes
I'm gonna tell
Holes.
Brian.
with
Brian,
an L.
call it Brian ass. So I say, bro, you need to get your life to Jesus. Because you're telling me about ass, tits, and sex. You're talking about.
If you're taking movie recommendations from somebody who only looks at logos instead of reading the full title of a podcast, you might need to reevaluate who you're listening to.
Hey, man. Brian's a good guy. Shout out to Brian who's listening. Well, we do have a listener, hey, Brian. Hey, man, I heard your podcast. Thank you for the shout out. Whoa.
Like, who are you?
I'm Brian. Oh, hey, what's up, Brian?
Oh, okay.
You know, I'm gonna start saying that shit on the podcast. Saying
random names, just shouting them out.
Just to see if anybody responds to listen to it.
But
bitch.
you know what?
Shout out to Jason.
But you know what? Some people would probably love to feel seen.
Yeah, for real, man. Yo,
Yeah.
Jason. Hey, man. Thank you for listening. Thank you for listening, Jason. Samantha.
And just be like, you know who
Appreciate
you are.
Yeah.
We got some Indian people, so I'm gonna have to learn some Indian name.
Muhammad is the easiest one.
Muhammad.
Hassan.
Hassan.
Mm-hmm.
Rashiki. Thank y'all for listening.
Rashid.
Rashid. We ain't have no Asian listeners.
You never know.
I'm just saying when you go look at it, we don't pop it.
That might be the New Orleans ones. That might be Mishu, for all you know.
Shout out to the people in Mishu.
Yeah, you can't really look at when you're looking at your demographics. It's hard to. Well, I mean, not that really ethnicity should come into a play or anything, but you know, depending on who's listening from where, you never know who they are.
True that. True that.
I mean, you got all types of people all over the place.
Yeah, you're right. Well, does your brother go by his name on the podcast, or does he have his? He has a.
He does, but he adds a bit extra to it. So he goes by Mr. VIP Frankie Washington.
Who the fuck is Frankie Washington?
His name is Frankie Washington, but he goes by Mr. VIP Frankie Washington.
Who the fuck is Frankie Washington?
You thought he was. Oh, I figured that. You thought he was working with BG.
That's his brother.
Didn't we already have this conversation before?
No, he has a ton of under siblings.
Yeah, I thought
I don't know them motherfuckers. I just know BJ.
I know you don't know them, but I thought you knew of them.
No, why would I know of them? They're not my brothers.
That's what I'm saying. I thought we talked about this before.
No,
my dad had 9 kids.
Yeah, I know your dad was a hoe, but I didn't know,
Yeah, so
but
clearly
I'm just
I have
saying,
other
though, when you say brother, that's who I'm thinking is BJ. So when you say Frank, I'm like, who the fuck is Frank?
I've met Frankie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Frank is my oldest brother.
Now I think of American Gangster. What was that nigga name? Was it his name Frank something?
Yeah. Frank.
Fuck, what was his name? Frank something. That's what I'm gonna think of when I think about it. Okay.
Yeah, no. I forget.
It's the VIP Frankie.
Yeah, I forget you didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, I didn't know. Okay.
I never forget. He saw your dad at my mom's.
Shout out, Frank.
And so he saw
Frank
your
Lucas.
dad and immediately went,
Frank
I gotta
Lucas.
be BJ and Spyder's daddy.
Yeah.
I was like, yep.
Yeah, boy, your daddy's genes are strong, boy.
Oh,
But
man.
even growing up, everybody always told me that I look like my mom. So
Well, yeah, you look like your mom, but yeah. Your brother is junior for a reason.
Yeah. They are, and the older he gets, the more
The more he looks like him.
Yeah.
Because every once in a while, your dad will pop up on Facebook as people you know, and I'm like, wait, I thought we were friends. Oh, wait, no, that's their daddy.
So, like I said, the trailer for the Fantastic Four.
Yes.
I see we got a female Silver Surfer.
Yeah, we do. Which is canon to the comics.
It is. I did a little research. So she is the wife of the Silver Surfer, correct?
Yes.
Okay. I wonder how the bitch don't get mercury poison all that silver on. That's crazy.
Because it's not mercury.
Well, I mean, she should get some kind of poison with that shit on her body.
I mean, when you're dealing with things of a cosmic nature, it doesn't necessarily act the same way as things that we come into contact with on Earth.
Facts. So, what do you think about the whole setup? I mean, your girl, she's pregnant, having a fucking baby. That's crazy. Because this is gonna be the third reboot of that fucking franchise?
If you don't count the what was it, the TV? If you don't count any of the TV
No,
shows.
we don't
And
count
I
TV.
want to say that there was a movie back in the 70s or 80s, if you don't count those. If you're talking about modern day,
Modern
this
day.
will be, the third iteration of the Fantastic Four.
Okay. One, I don't like the way the thing looks. I don't like the whole. I would prefer the costume makeup shit, but whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't know if they got a hit with this one. You know, it's a hard. The Fantastic Four has been a hard fucking movie to really sell and have people be like, you know, oh my god, yeah, I can't wait to go see it. Cause like the last one, you had Michael B. Jordan, and this is my sister, and they're like, what? That's your sister? Like, oh, we
Yeah,
adopted
that
her.
was that
And,
that
what
was
the
a
fuck is
choice.
what the fuck you doing? I'm not knocking for what they was doing, but it was just I don't know. I didn't care.
They made that one too serious.
It was just too
Yeah.
whatever. Fuck all that.
They made that one too dark and too serious. Like they very much pulled it like the DC route. Like, oh, it's so dark, it's so brooding.
They went for the dark, and then they try to add like a sense of realism to it, to where everything was like practical. Like Doctor Doom being, I don't even know like what to call what he turned into.
I call it
in the
rock
movie.
candy.
Huh?
I call it rock candy. That's what he looked like, some fucking green ass rock candy. A green ass.
Yeah,
apple.
and then the whole thing about them going to like another
planet
dimension,
Yeah.
or wherever it was that they went, and that's what gave them their powers and stuff like that. You take certain parts away from all of the iterations of it, and you can make yourself a decent movie. But I think the original one, well, not the original one, but the early 2000s one with Chris Evans, that one was a little too campy.
It was.
And then the Michael B. Jordan one was just too serious.
Right.
But no, I think this one has a lot of promise in the sense of the story that it's trying to tell, because they're going the same route that Spider-Man Homecoming did, and we're joining the heroes after they've already been established as heroes. Like, we're not getting an origin story, we're not rehashing all of that stuff. But we see in the trailer, or in the trailer that just came out, we see a lot of they're preaching the togetherness of the group, because Fantastic Four was always advertised in the comics as the first family of Marvel, right? You've had family members before, but it was never really like a family unit all doing something together until Fantastic Four came about. And so they're leaning more into that, into the togetherness of it, and then adding the fact that Sue is pregnant. That leans into the name, the Fantastic Four First Steps. So there's theories, because the baby that she's going to have is Franklin Richards. Yeah. And so Franklin is an extremely powerful enhanced individual. I don't think he's a mutant, and I could be wrong, but he has like Wanda Maximoff level abilities to warp realities, and in his later years he's able to time travel and stuff like that. So there are different theories going around as to like how much of Franklin do we get to see. What's the reason that, because we see in the trailer that Reed says that he stretched the fabric of time and space, and he thinks that that's what's calling Galactus to Earth, and why we're in his crosshairs now. And then the fact that this is a different Earth and a different universe, where the Fantastic Four are the only superheroes that exist. So we don't have Spider-Man, we don't have Iron Man, we don't have Thor, we don't have any of those other people. So my whole thing about the reasoning, and I always question because DC uses fictional cities for all of their superheroes:
Right.
Metropolis, Gotham, Star City, Central City, all of that stuff. But Marvel has always used real locations.
Right.
Like Gambit is from Louisiana. You have all of these heroes up in New York City proper, whether it's Brooklyn or Queens or the Bronx or Hell's Kitchen, they're all in New York City. So when you have a situation like uh 2012 Avengers, where you have like the main six in the MCU, they all show up, and then you have Luke Cage comes out, Daredevil comes out, Jessica Jones comes out, and these
Ooh.
shows show that all of these heroes already had abilities
Right.
prior to everything that happened in 2012. And so it's like, okay, well, where were they?
Shit was
Why didn't
chilling.
they show up and help out? When in Spider-Man No Way Home, when all of these supervillains are attacking around the Statue of Liberty, did Daredevil not say, oh, well, maybe I should jump in and be a part of that? Or, and you have to like suspend your disbelief for that moment and be like, okay, well, this is Spider-Man's movie. So no, I can't say Daredevil was not going to show up because he did show up at the beginning, but it's like, okay, so if he showed up to represent Peter, why wasn't he a part of them fighting in the end? Or anything else that was going on in the city when Electro
he was
is
kicking people ass, man. Look, Daredevil only can handle so much. Daredevil
but
take care of people.
it's
He take care of Daredevil takes care of Hell's Kitchen area. That's his.
yeah,
That's his
he's
stomping
a
ground.
street level hero. Daredevil does Hell Kitchen. Luke Cage does Harlem.
Right.
So yeah, in the scope of the movies, it's understandable. But in the comics, there's crossover stuff all the time because of
Right.
course you're in the same city, so you're gonna run into another one of these characters. But having a universe where you're the only superheroes, you remove that question. If Thanos is showing, or not Thanos, if Galactus is showing up, where's Thor? Where's, the more powerful heroes? Where's the Hulk? The Hulk could potentially at least give us a fighting chance against Galactus, right?
Man,
But
if the Hulk pops up
you don't have
in
to worry
this
about that.
if he pops up in this Fantastic Four, it has to be
No, no.
I'm just saying, if
None
he
of them are gonna
does,
pop
if
up.
he was, it would have to be the original Hulk.
What do you mean original? Are you talking about
No.
Edward Norton?
No, nigga.
Lou Ferrigno.
Are you talking about
Yes.
Lou Ferrigno?
It had to be him because of that. I mean, the time era fits with when his Hulk, when he was the Hulk,
Yeah.
it kind of fits that
Yeah.
era that the Fantastic Four
Lou
fits. So,
Ferrigno is so old though.
but I'm just
He
saying
is.
he would. I mean, he would. Of course, they'll CGI that motherfucker
No,
though.
please don't.
Well, yeah, they CGI. What you call him?
Mark Ruffalo,
Yeah, so they'll just CGI him. I
I
don't
mean,
expect him to be with the green paint lifting up cars and shit. Yeah.
Oh no, I meant
the way
like
it used to be.
when he's not the Hulk.
Right.
Oh, well, no, because it was a different character that played Bruce Banner in the TV series.
Ah,
Right.
When that guy, I don't know if he's actually still alive.
Fuck him. No, I don't want I want Hulk to play Hulk. I want Hulk Lou Ferrigno to be Bruce Banner, and then he turns into the Hulk. That shit was crazy.
Bill Bixby is the guy's name that played. Was he Bruce Banner or was he David Banner? I think he was David Banner. Yeah, he was David Banner in the show.
There's a David Banner. I thought it was Bruce Banner.
it's both.
There's a David Banner that turns into a Hulk.
In the TV show, it was David Banner.
Right, but the comics is Bruce Banner, right?
Yes,
So why they use a David Banner?
that's a great question.
And is he related to the Mississippi rapper David Banner?
I doubt it.
I'm pretty sure that's where
I-
the whole idea. If you remember the early days of when rapper David Banner came out, that was kind of his persona, was that he was this Hulk type dude. Because you remember David Banner used to be a bigger
He used to
dude
be
back when he first
big,
came out.
yeah.
And so that was
Okay,
kind of
so
his
his
persona
name
and
was
his idea. Yeah.
David
David
Banner.
Bruce Banner.
Oh, okay. For Bruce's
Because
middle name.
Oh, okay. So according to a Reddit post, it says that in the TV show The Incredible Hulk from 1978 to protagonist is named David Banner instead of Bruce Banner because CBS, and like I said, this is from Reddit, so I don't know how true this is, but it says because CBS thought the name Bruce sounded too gay. This isn't a joke. Both Stan Lee and Lou Ferrigno confirmed this was true.
Oh, I believe it's true then. Bruce Banner. That doesn't sound gay.
But no, if I think that because like the same way that we got the different iterations of Spider-Man and Spider-Man No Way Home, I think once we get to Avengers Doomsday, we may see different variants of different characters. So we may see a Lou Ferrigno Hulk. They might be like the same way that they put Mark Ruffalo in the mocap suit and do the face tracking on his face. We might get a model of Lou Ferrigno as Hulk.
Yeah,
We might
true.
get a
We
model
could
as
do
Eric
that.
Bana because Eric Bana was in the 2005 Hulk movie. I think that's when that one came out.
Yeah. Or Ed Norton.
But yeah, so 2003 is when it was. But we might get variations of different iterations of characters. So when because we in Deadpool and Wolverine, y'all seen Deadpool and Wolverine, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah. So like Deadpool and Wolverine, we got Chris Evans came back as Johnny Storm.
I love that. That shit
So
was so funny.
now that we're in this multiverse era, or the multiverse saga, especially with these two Avenger movies coming up, there's no telling who will show up.
Man, I don't know.
Because especially now, because outside of Hulk, I'll say, because Hulk is still under some type of contract restrictions on the Universal for whatever reason. That's why we never got another Hulk movie after the Edward Norton one. But now that Disney owns Fox, Disney has the rights to most of all of their superheroes, save for Spider-Man. There's no limit on, well, there's a wider range of heroes that we could see now, especially because we got all of the mutants, the X-Men are coming back. So we got James Marsden, we got
Yeah.
Kelsey Grammer, Patrick Stewart, Ian McKellen, Alan Cumming. They're all coming back.
Yeah, I was seeing.
I saw that
I
whole
saw that.
announcement.
Yeah,
Marvel 5-hour video of just chairs.
it's gonna be.
You know what? It's a weird marketing, but
it's
they got the attention of people.
It's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be. I don't know. I'm not. How can I say this? I'm not gonna sit here and be like I'm excited for the Doomsday movie because you got Robert Downey Jr. as Doomsday. I'm intrigued and wondering how they're going to pull this off, and I'm praying that they got some fire ass writing going on, and it's not just some throw together bullshit.
Yeah, that's my hope.
That's my thing. If they're gonna do it, I hope they pull it off right where it's like, okay, all right, Marvel, y'all did that one. Y'all spun it, y'all pulled this one out y'all ass and y'all did it. I'm hoping. I'm hoping the best.
So here's the thing. So the Russos are coming back to direct both of these Avengers. So we have Avengers Doomsday coming out in 2026, and then we have Avengers Secret Wars coming out in 2027. Now, when it comes to the Russos, I think that they probably have the best track record of successful films in the MCU, starting with The Winter Soldier.
Right.
And this is something that we talked about because a couple weeks ago on ATS we did a review on The Electric State, which is a Netflix movie starring Chris Pratt and Millie Bobby Brown, and that was also directed by the Russos. The Russos also directed another Netflix film called The Gray Man, starring Ryan Gosling and Chris Evans. Both of those Netflix films directed by the Russos were not that great. They had some nice actiony moments to it. The Gray Man had some nice action moments to it. Electric State had some nice emotional moments to it. But overall, the films were lacking. I don't know what it is, but you take them out of the MCU and have them direct something, and it's just so. But you take Winter Soldier, Civil War, Infinity War and Endgame, and you have four of the highest grossing MCU films out of the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe, all directed by the Russos. So I don't know what it is about MCU versus their own like stories that they create that have the difference in it, but I think that from what I'm seeing now with the Marvel movies, we're getting back up to ramping up to that Avengers level event, right? And this
Right.
is the thing that a lot of people had a problem with everything that was the in between after Infinity War and Endgame, because you had Endgame come out, which was a monumental event, and
Mm-hmm.
then I think I can't remember the next movie that came out after that, but I know that's when they also transitioned into, because COVID hit, and then you transitioned into
Wasn't it Spider
Marvel
Man?
Television on Disney Plus. Um, yeah, I think it was Spider-Man No
Far
Way
f-
Home. Yeah,
no,
Far From
Far
Home.
From
Far From
Home.
Home came out. Yeah, Far From Home came out because they were dealing with the
Uncle Tony.
repercussions of Tony dying.
Right.
Hmm.
But all of the other like TV shows, because you had
She Hulk.
WandaVision
You
came
had
out. WandaVision
WandaVision.
was a great success. Loki came out. Loki was a great success.
Mm-hmm.
But then Captain America, well, Falcon and the Winter Soldier,
I
Moon
enjoyed it.
Knight,
Oh man,
She-Hulk.
love Moon Knight.
You had a lot of hits and misses in between those, and then with the movies like the Marvels, like some people didn't like Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, and those people are insane. But there are a lot of naysayers to the MCU after Infinity War and Endgame, and they were like, oh, well, Marvel doesn't know what it's doing. There's no connectivity. There's no plan. There's no story beat. Marvel fell off. Marvel sucks. All this other kind of stuff. But I really feel like now that we're getting closer to um, the next Avengers level event, we're starting to see a lot of those connective tissues coming back together.
Yeah.
And like I said, I'm not the type of person to say that, oh, just wait for the next Avengers. They're going to be right back on it. It's going to be great. I'm always giving something the benefit of the doubt. I was like, hey, they made it work last time. They might be able to make it work again. But if
Right.
it's trash, it's going to be trash. But
Right.
Right.
I feel like, if anything, my biggest worry is the amount of people that are going to be in the movie, because you take a look at Infinity War,
Right.
and we started Infinity War with uh picked up right where Ragnarok ended. So we had Thor and we had the Guardians. Well, no, we had Thor and Loki, Thanos attack, and Hulk was there. Hulk got sent back to Earth.
Right.
There were so many parts of Infinity War where everybody was segmented, right?
Right.
And then at
Mhm.
the end, everybody came together. Then a snap happened, and then half the universe was dusted. And then we start Endgame. Everybody's segmented because everybody's going to split off, because now we're not the Avengers anymore. We're broken, and
Right.
so the we had to get everybody back together in order to get the stones back, save the world. So we only spend a fraction of the time between Infinity War and Endgame with that full cast. So we had the
Right.
fight and we had the battle in Wakanda. We have everybody joining for that, but then you still also have the battle on Titan happening
Right.
at the same time.
Right.
And then in Endgame, at the end of the movie, you have the big fight, the battle for Earth.
Everybody.
But you had
And
the
after
ones,
that, you got
but you
everybody.
also had the crew that was still stuck on Titan, because not everybody was in Wakanda. Because
Right,
remember,
exactly.
Tony and them was still on Titan
Oh,
when,
yeah, that's what he
when
said.
the snap happened, and so it still
Tony,
wasn't.
Nebula, the
Yeah,
Guardian,
it still wasn't a
Spider-Man, yeah.
big, huge crew in Wakanda. And I think
Right.
too, the thing that kept it from feeling overwhelming when we did get to that point was that we slowly built up to that big group, because you had the first Avengers that was the Hulk and Tony and Captain America, and it was that little group.
Black Widow.
Black
They
Widow
got
in them.
Hawkeye.
And then so then we
Yeah.
had another couple movies to then like establish a few more heroes and bring them
Mhm.
in. And then we had Civil War, which then brought in Ant-Man and brought in Spider-Man
Spider-Man.
and brought in
Mhm.
Black Panther. And
Right.
so then they added a few more to the bunch. And then by the time we got to Infinity War and Endgame, then we had them all together, and it didn't feel like we just threw them all in at once.
Right.
You know, we
yeah.
slowly built the group up as we went. You
Yeah,
know, and like you
and
said, with
even-
Infinity War, like, okay, so now we're bringing the Guardians of the Galaxy in the mix, but they're on Titan, whereas, you know, the rest of them, they're in Wakanda, and they still were, like, split up. And it wasn't until the very end of Endgame did
Right,
it was
that we get
everybody
come back
together, you know.
Yeah.
And that is what I'm kind of worried about with this new one, is that you have so many people, and it's just going to, I'm worried that they're going to throw them all in one room at once, and it's just going to be chaos, you know?
Yeah. And even
And-
with all of that, we still got the opportunity to, like, for most of them, like Shang-Chi, we got an origin story for Shang-Chi, so we
Right.
know him. You know, we are the disconnect is going to be for the people who didn't watch the shows.
Right.
So if you bring any characters from Marvel television into
The movie.
a Marvel movie,
Right.
you lose some of your audience. Because
Right.
like with the Marvels, if you didn't watch Miss Marvel, if you didn't watch WandaVision, then you don't know who Kamala Khan is. You don't know who Monica Rambeau is.
Right.
You may remember the name Rambeau from if you watch Captain Marvel. You're
Right.
like, oh, is that the friend? We're like, well, no, that's the daughter.
That's the
Now she's
daughter.
grown up. And like, okay, so now you get to the end of the Marvels, and then you see Maria come back, and you was like, well, I thought she was in Multiverse of Madness and she was Captain Marvel in that. Now she's somebody different. You know, so if you don't know, like, different, like when we were talking about before, you having different characters and different variations
Right.
of a character. If you're not familiar with, like, multiverse thing, yeah, that can be a little overwhelming. But then if you try to bring a Moon Knight into Doomsday, or you try to bring, you know, an Echo or She-Hulk into Doomsday, yeah, you're gonna lose some people. But yeah, like you said, having all of them into one room or just trying to throw them all together, it has to be a reason.
Yeah,
And like,
I'm,
know
I'm praying
Dr. Doom
it's
is the
not
big bad.
of. I'm praying they're not gonna do it as we're gonna have them for the sake of having them to draw the excitement of, oh, we're bringing all these characters together.
Right.
Like, I really pray that they do have a
Logical.
a true story planned to make the blend and them coming together make sense.
Right.
Talking about that shit.
Because we haven't, we kind of have, but not, we haven't really tied X-Men into the original X-Men into this. We haven't really tied, you know, a lot of these characters into this mix. And so I'm hoping they don't throw them in for the sake of throwing them in. Just to say, oh, look, there's Shuri for a quick minute, and then she's gone.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
My thing is,
And even X-Men had their own retcon issues that they had to do, because remember, you had X3, The Last Stand, where Jean Grey killed Professor X.
Right.
Magneto lost his powers.
Right.
You know, she killed Cyclops, and then
Mystique lost her powers and all
yeah,
that.
Mystique lost her powers and all that other kind of stuff. But then you had the reboot with X-Men First Class, and by the time they got to Days of Future Past, they went to the past, they changed it all, and so they retconned it and they brought everybody back. And now you have Deadpool and Wolverine, where Logan died, but then they got a different Logan from another universe, and now he's part of, because Deadpool, if you remember Deadpool 2, when he went to the X Mansion, even though the time changed, it was in like more present day, they had a cameo from the X-Men from it was, what was the X-Men Apocalypse, because that's when the new Nightcrawler came around.
right.
And so he was there. But so they had that iteration, which I think Apocalypse was supposed to have happened in the 80s, but Deadpool 2 was taking place like sometime 2017, I think, something like that. So anyway, but you know, Deadpool is sort of outside of our standard reality. But bringing the X-Men in, which is something that everybody wanted because, of course, the X-Men are a huge part of Marvel. And so that once Disney acquired the rights from Fox, or once they acquired Fox, that was the first question on everybody's mind. When do we see the X-Men? And I'm glad that they didn't just like, okay, well, we have the X-Men now, so let's make an X-Men movie. They waited to be able to narratively incorporate them into the MCU, because you got to think about it. If now you're going to say that mutants exist in this universe, the first question is like, well, where were they?
Right.
Where have they been all this time? Because not only do you have mutants that have abilities like Professor X, like Magneto, where they can walk amongst us and we wouldn't know. So yeah, there could be mutants that look like regular people, but they just have powers. You have mutants that are physically different, like their physical characteristics. Like you have Beast, who's blue. You know, you have Colossus, who can turn into metal.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you would see like news reports of these people like out and about and stuff like that. So you have to come up with a way to be able to explain, well, mutants have always been here, but where have they been? Or now, what I think is going to happen is what we left off from Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, talking about the incursions in different universes colliding with each other. We already had Monica travel to a different universe where X-Men do exist. And so somehow, somewhere, we got to get her back into the original 616 universe. And I think with those incursions, those universes will collide. And so the X-Men, I think, are going to be coming from wherever Monica ended up and pull them into our universe. And I also think that with Fantastic Four, Monica Rambeau.
Oh, Monica Rambeau.
Spectrum,
okay.
Photon. Yeah.
Gotcha.
But I think that also in the Fantastic Four movie, I'm assuming, or I theorize, that close to the end, or it might be in a post-credit scene or something like that, they're going to get pulled into the 616 universe too. I think that in an attempt to try to either escape Galactus or try to banish Galactus, they're going to like rip open a portal or rip open some type of tear in the fabric of time and space, or they're going to do something and end up getting pushed into the 616 universe. So narratively, I can kind of see different avenues of what they can do in order to pull all these people together. But like you said, as when it comes to the screen, you know, it's yet to be determined exactly if that's going to work.
Right. Have you been watching Daredevil?
Yeah.
Man, Disney just, Jesus, the filth, the cursing. Oh my God.
It's rated TVMA.
It's Disney though, man. I'm not used to that. Let's say a little shit, and this motherfuckers they fucking.
Well, Disney, I
bitches.
already told you, Disney Plus and pulled FX on there. So like during Halloween, open it up and be a like Halloween section, and it was like Hocus Pocus. Mom's on a date with a vampire. Grotesquerie. Like
shit just crazy.
American Horror Story. It's like, whoa, wait a minute.
It's Disney Plus in and of itself is not just family
friendly
programming anymore.
Yeah, I see that.
But I mean, if you want to have a streaming platform that's running neck and neck with Netflix and Paramount Plus and Max, you can't restrict yourself to only showing, family friendly content. You have to be able to, put things that are going to appeal to a wide audience. And that's what the TV ratings are for.
Oh, bro. Let's say fuck.
So when you see TVMA, you're like, okay, I know this is not going to be all sunshine and roses.
Right.
And I mean, with a property like Daredevil, you have to.
Oh no!
It's like the same thing like Deadpool and Wolverine. You can't make, now that Deadpool and Wolverine was a part of the MCU, you can't make that movie and not have it be R-rated. You can't have a Deadpool movie and not have it rated R.
Like you can't sit down. Ryan Reynolds is like, okay, you're gonna have to tone it down now. Like,
yeah,
no, because then it wouldn't be Deadpool.
Right. No, I look. No, I agree. It's just like I say when I was watching it, I was okay.
And there has been rumor, and I mean, there's been rumors that they're talking about bringing back the ones that they had on Netflix.
You talking about?
Luke Cage,
Jessica Jones.
Iron Fist.
I like the Luke Cage. I ain't care for the Iron Fist shit.
But there's rumors that they talking about bringing them back.
Iron Fist is the one that they're like, we may bring the character back, but we probably won't bring back
the series.
Yeah, no, the series is horrible. I did not care for it, but Daredevil, I like the Daredevil. Luke Cage, I enjoy Luke Cage. I never saw what'd you say?
Jessica Jones.
Jessica Jones was definitely stronger in its first couple seasons. Well, in its first season, it was definitely stronger. Season 2, I think what season 2 struggled with is that they didn't have a consistent big villain because they were bouncing around to like a couple different antagonists in the entire season. So I think that kind of suffered.
But aren't Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, Daredevil, Iron Fist, aren't they kind of like all in the same area? Because for a moment they all had a show together. What was it called?
They had the Defenders.
Right.
Yeah.
So
and I mean they very frequently run across each other in the comics. Yeah, and in the same area in the sense of they're all in New York. Because like we were saying before, Daredevil was in Hell's Kitchen. The Luke Cage is in Harlem. I think Iron Fist is mostly like around the financial district downtown because that's kind of where he operates. But then you're talking about incorporating your grounded reality of Jessica Jones, who's like a private investigator, so she's boots on the ground trying to figure stuff out. Luke Cage is like your hometown hero. He protects the streets of Harlem, and that's like his stomping grounds. Daredevil the same way, Hell's Kitchen. But then when you start adding grounded reality to mystical stuff like Iron Fist, that's when things start to get kind of like a little jumbled, because now you're adding a different element that when the Netflix shows came out, it was like if people weren't familiar with who Iron Fist was, it was like, okay, well, this is a little weird because you have a guy who has, and the reason I think, well, not the reason, but I think one big part of why Iron Fist didn't do well is that he had the power of the Iron Fist, but hardly ever used it,
right?
Because he's of certain beliefs. He is sort of non-violent in the sense to where he doesn't want to use violence as a means to solve a problem. But it came down to it. But no, it's in Daredevil Born Again, there was a scene that they were having like a New Year's Eve celebration.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a billboard in Times Square that was a quote from a review for Harlem's Paradise. And Harlem's Paradise is the club that, if you watch Luke Cage, at the end of Luke Cage season 2, Luke Cage ends up becoming the owner of the Harlem's Paradise Club after fighting with Mahershala Ali character and Alfred Woodard's character. He ends up coming into ownership of the club. So a lot of people were pointing to that and saying, oh, okay, well, if they're referencing Harlem's Paradise, we may get Luke Cage. Don't know if we're going to get a Luke Cage show, but we may get a Luke Cage appearance at some point in the future. Don't know about Jessica Jones. Don't know where that character is going to end up, but I know Kristen Ritter said that she would be willing to come back as Jessica Jones if they asked her. So the door's open.
I mean, my boy, he's no longer doing what's my show? Evil. He's done with that show, so he could come back and be Luke Cage. You watched that show?
No, I didn't. I never watched it.
That shit crazy. Man. It's a wild show. But yeah, man, it's gonna be a lot of good things coming up. It's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, and all of these people talking about, oh, the MCU is dead, all this other kind of stuff. They're they say all of that shit. They post all the YouTube videos, shitting on the MCU, shitting on every decision that they make, but then they're the first ones to buy a ticket when pre-sales come out. So
Oh
Exactly.
yeah. Well, and you also have a lot of bandwagon MCU people who didn't jump on until Infinity War Endgame. Because I definitely
right,
remember when those movies came out, explaining to a lot of them, like, oh no, you need to watch all of the movies leading up to this so you can understand what the hell is going on, because you're going to be lost. Like,
yeah,
you are going to be
yeah,
lost.
give or take a couple.
Give or take a
Yeah,
couple,
but
but
yeah,
like, you're going to be lost when Infinity War comes on. Like,
hmm
you're gonna be lost as to what's going on, especially since it started right where Ragnarok
yeah.
left off. So it was like,
If you
you're gonna
didn't
be like,
watch
well, what the
Ragnarok,
hell
you wouldn't know
happened with
what
this?
happened.
Yeah. And so I remember telling a lot of friends who throughout the years were like, oh, you guys see a superhero movie? You guys see another superhero movie? Oh, you into that stuff? And I'm going to see a new Tyler Perry movie. You into that stuff? We grown adults. And then when people were hype and talking about going to see Infinity War and Endgame, they wanted to jump on the bandwagon. It's like, I want to go see it. And it's like, well, you're going to be so fucking lost because you have 10 years of movies to catch up on.
Right.
And I think that's kind of the thing too. You have a lot of these people that didn't jump on until like Endgame and Infinity War. And so they expected every Marvel movie to be that epic.
Right.
And
They
it's like,
expected that level
no,
of
it was a
excitement and
slow burn build up to this.
yeah.
Like, we had to endure 10 years to get to this moment of build up. And so we're on the build up again. Like, and so you have to endure the build up. Not every Marvel movie is going to be as epic as Endgame. And that's
Yeah.
just all it is. That's all it is to it, you know?
Yeah. And I've been saying for the longest time that the MCU has become uh a product or basically like they're cursed by their own success.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Because yeah, just like you said, you have all of these people expecting every single thing that the MCU to put out. It's like and I remember, I forget what movie it was, but I think the movie had only made like 600 million at the box office, and like journalists and outlets and everybody was like, "Oh, well, this new MCU movie was a flop." I'm like,
Right.
you call $600 million a flop?
What in what world is any movie $600 million a flop? Like,
Right.
not
But it's
one
like when
movie
you
is a
have
flop at 600 mil.
yeah, when you have and you have Black Panther, you have Infinity War, you have Endgame, you have Captain Marvel, you have Spider-Man. I want to say, I know No Way Home definitely did, but I don't remember about the other two. But when you have multiple billion-dollar properties
Right.
in your cinematic universe, people for whatever reason automatically assume, okay, well, this movie didn't make $1 billion, so it's bad.
You know,
this
it's like,
movie
no.
didn't gross as much as Infinity War, so it's not worth it, so we need to pull it out of the theaters immediately. And it's just like you said, this was a slow burn of 10 years of progress, going through the paces of meeting the new characters and understanding exactly where they fit in the universe to where we get the payoff in Infinity War, which that's what's going to happen. And then when you basically started over. So Infinity War and Endgame, that whole ordeal was the Infinity Saga about the Infinity Stones. Stones get destroyed. Yeah, we have to find a new place to start over so we can
Right.
build to the next thing. And people have been so incensed that everything is awful. Oh, well, how does this connect to the MCU? I don't see it. So Marvel doesn't have a plan. They're just throwing shit out to throw shit out. And it's like, well, do you remember when we saw Captain America: The First Avenger? We didn't know that there was a larger cinematic universe
Hell
at
no.
play.
Yeah.
Well, not that we didn't know that there
Iron
was a
Man.
large cinematic. We didn't know exactly how it was all going to come together. We
Right.
knew,
Like,
we,
Iron Man
we
felt
were
like a
able to
one-off.
see.
Like, it was
Yeah.
like, because when Iron Man came out, everyone was like, but they picked Iron Man, you know? Because,
Yeah, they picked Iron Man to
because
start
when
this
you
with?
think Marvel, like you said, you think Fantastic Four, you think X-Men, you think
You think Spider-Man.
you think Spider-Man, you think Captain America. Yeah, Iron Man's a big deal, but like, he was not the biggest one, but that's the one they chose to launch the MCU with, and it
and
worked.
that was the whole thing, is that because Marvel Studios as a film production entity were basically working with what they had, because back in the 70s 80s, I want to say, the Marvel Comics company was going under. Comics were being, I don't want to say frowned upon, but the comic industry
it was a
wasn't
big thing.
flourishing.
Yeah.
Right. And so Marvel was like, okay, well, let's sell off the licenses to a lot of our more popular characters to get some more money so we can try to keep this whole thing afloat. So that's why you had Spider-Man go to Sony, you had Hulk go to Universal, you had X-Men go to Fox. And so we were left with the B tier, C tier characters that as many people didn't care about. So when people came out, not only when they said, okay, well, we're coming out with an Iron Man movie, like, okay, it's an Iron Man movie, like starring Robert Downey Jr., you're like, why?
Right.
Anybody that went to jail?
Why RDJ, the drug addict, the jailbird? It's like, seriously, that's who you're picking? But you look at that in hindsight now, it's like, that was
choice.
the best casting that they could have picked.
Facts.
And I think they did the same thing with Chris Evans as Captain America. They did the same thing with Chris Hemsworth as Thor, because Chris Hemsworth was a soap opera actor.
Right.
In Australia.
He
didn't have
who he
a
was.
lot of.
Yeah, he was a soap opera actor in Australia.
That's crazy.
Like we didn't really know who he was until he became Thor.
Tom Hiddleston auditioned for the role of
Thor. Yeah.
And can you imagine him blonde, jacked, muscular?
And it's like, no, but he's the perfect Loki.
Perfect.
He's the perfect Loki. And we had these formative years in the MCU and building these characters. And like you were saying, Creole, we got to sit with them and learn who they were. And we got all of the additional movies to get to know them a little bit more. So that way, when we lost Black Widow in Endgame, it hurt. When we lost Tony in Endgame, it hurt. When everybody got snapped at the end of Infinity War, that was felt throughout the entire fan base. Right. Even though, like, we knew, like, clearly there's another Avengers movie coming out in the next year, so something's going to happen. They're going to get brought back. Tom Holland signed a nine picture deal. He can't just be dusted and be done. Right. He's not dead. He's coming back. But that didn't stop. I remember when I saw Infinity War in the theaters, I was sitting next to this woman and that happened, and we had the whole, it's a Stark, I don't feel so good. The woman next to me was sobbing.
Oh, I was too.
Bawling.
I was
and
too.
I
was tearing up. I was like, oh my God, no.
Exactly. And it was like, this is what these characters mean to these people. But for whatever reason, so many people decided to stop allowing themselves to enjoy the development of the story, because once we finish that, because Black Widow died, Tony died, Captain America got old and lived his life somewhere else, Gamora died, we basically had a changing of the guard of sorts, because most of the core Avengers moved on. Right. And we know that the actors themselves, contracts had ended, so we weren't going to see these characters anymore. So, yeah, essentially after that, we're starting fresh. And so many people weren't willing to give Marvel the time and patience to develop new characters, to bring them into the fold, to revitalize the whole cinematic universe. So you had some of the movies like Shang-Chi where people appreciate it. You had, like, the Guardians was still going, but when you're bringing in, like, I really think it was the TV shows, and mostly because people just didn't want to subscribe to another streaming service. But you had, like I said, you had Miss Marvel, you had Moon Knight, and She-Hulk, and all these shows are getting review bound because they're like, well, this didn't have any cameos in it. I didn't see, well, She-Hulk had Daredevil in it. Well, She-Hulk had a lot of cameos in it, actually, but just from different characters and stuff like that. Right. But like Miss Marvel, well, I don't see how this fits into the bigger MCU. Moon Knight, I don't see how this fits into the bigger MCU. And it's like you have to understand where these characters come from and who these characters are,
Right.
so that when we do see them again in the future, you're not like, oh, who's that?
Right.
Where do they come from?
Because
What do
literally
they
the
do?
only tie for Captain America to Tony was his dad. Like that was
Right.
the only in the first Captain America. That was like the only like light tie to Tony was
Hmm.
his dad
And
was
to
there. You know.
Yeah, and then you get to the end of it, he wakes up in the present, and then now Nick Fury comes in and gets him.
Right, but
But
other than
even
that,
with
there's no cameo by Tony. Like, there's no
yeah,
Thor cameo.
hmm
Tony doesn't appear in Thor. Like, yeah, you just gotta. We're also in an age of like instant gratification, so everybody wants
right.
it
It's a
now.
lot of
Want it
impatience.
now. Nobody wants to learn about anything or get background stories anymore. I just want to get into it now.
Right. And then on the adverse side of that, we're in a generation where now we're in podcast culture, we're in content creator culture. So
Mm-hmm.
everybody wants to make their opinions known. So for the people who do see the movies, they do the research, or they see the TV shows and they do the research, like, okay, well, where is Moon Knight from? Where's Miss Marvel from? And then what they want to do is like, well, in the movies, Miss Marvel, it says that she's the mutant, but in the comics, she's actually an inhuman. And it's like, do you understand creative liberties?
Right.
Do you understand, like, we have this cinematic universe where, yes, we have characters who have the same name as their comic counterparts, but everything is not going to be one for one. Yes, they try to pay homage to the comics and the origin stories where these characters come from, but just to adapt something to the big screen or to the small screen, you can't, because you can have comic panels, you can have breaks in issues where you can break up a storyline, right? The I forget the name of the run. I think it's like the one break is the storyline that where Peter made a deal with Mephisto in order for people to forget that he was Spider-Man after he had revealed his secret identity in Civil War. I think that's the way that storyline goes.
Mhm.
But Civil War in the comics was played out way differently than Civil War in
Right.
the movies, because Civil War in the comics was all about a superhero registration act where masked heroes were urged to register themselves, like, I am Peter Parker and I am Spider-Man, so they could be on a registry. So if something were to happen, Spider-Man's trying to save a cat from a tree and Rhino attacks and flips a car onto somebody while they're still in it, and that person breaks their arm, somebody has to be held liable. And
Right.
so since that was a part of Spider-Man's fight, then they would come after Peter Parker, since they know that's Spider-Man. And there was a big fight over Tony's side and Captain America's side, where Tony was like, yes, we need to be held accountable, kind of like they did in the movie,
Right.
but it was adapted differently. And so you see that and you're like, okay, I can see the spirit of the argument is still there, even if they're still not arguing about the same things.
Right.
But people,
I mean, shit, in the comics, like, Captain America don't get old. Captain America gets assassinated. And that's how Sam
Yeah.
becomes Captain America.
right.
Like, y'all lucky that
And then
shit didn't happen.
and then Steve ends up coming back anyway. So it's like there's so many things that they could do in the comic books that, just due to the nature of actors being real people, you can't do, because, like, you still have in some comics, Tony Stark is still Iron Man, Steve Rogers is still Captain America. Like, Peter Parker is still a 20-something, fresh out of college young adult.
Right.
And it's like, you give Tom Holland 2 more Spider-Man movies, he's going to be in his 30s.
Right.
He may still look young, but yeah, there's a point to where these actors start to age up and they can't be the same fresh-faced characters that they were.
Exactly.
Clinton Barton as Hawkeye, Jeremy Renner, like, even before, his accident and everything, he started to get up in age. Paul Rudd, even though he still looks like a young man, is starting to get up in age.
Like, Paul
And
Rudd
so-
is, what, 50 now, huh? Or, like,
Probably
almost there?
60, I think.
Yeah, like, and they're all like getting up in age, so we can only have them for so
56.
long. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, Yeah, he still looks like he did in Clueless, but like he's not the same age he was in
Crazy.
Clueless.
Yeah.
Well, that's what happens when you're
But
an unbothered white person. But anyway,
exactly. He's like, I just mind my business and
drink
I
my
let
water.
myself age as I'm gonna age.
Drink my water,
But
mind my
yeah, but
business.
so at some point, these, if the characters are going to stay, then they have to have legacy, people behind them.
Right.
If there's gonna be an Ant-Man continuing in the universe, then I think that's really what Doomsday and Secret Wars is gonna do, is gonna sort of reboot the MCU for a younger generation of actors. So you might still have a character or a variant of the character, or like you had like the man of Captain America passed down from Chris Evans to Anthony Mackie, and now the mantle of Falcon passed from Anthony Mackie, Sam Wilson to what's his name, Manny Ramirez, Torres. He's the new Falcon, right? So you're going to have to, in order to keep these stories going, if you're not rebooting, if you're not recasting the actor, then you have to do something to be able to introduce the character in a new way.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you're not giving the studio the room or giving them the leeway in your reviews or your recaps or your criticisms of what they're doing, it's like you are not understanding the spirit of being able to maintain the longevity of what they're doing. Because that's really what's happening in DC right now. You're revamping the entire DC universe, and almost all of the characters are being recast, and then
Right.
you get an introduction of newer characters, so you have fresh faces and younger people who might be able to stay with the franchise for years and years and years. But people, the vocal minority, and it's always the vocal minority,
They're always the
always have
loudest.
some shit to say
They're
about everything.
they're always the loudest.
Yes.
So with the revamping of characters and using the multiverse to introduce new people, do you think they may use this to introduce a new Black Panther?
I think so. Yes. I think that being able to, the multiverse saga is probably the best thing in the world for the MCU right now, is because I hate the idea of them bringing RDJ back as Doctor Doom, because I feel like that's just a money grab.
Yeah.
And that they don't have the confidence in their story to introduce a new actor as Doctor Doom and allow him to be the great antagonist that Doctor Doom can be. But what I am hoping is that Robert Downey Jr. is just one variant of Doctor Doom, and we get him portraying Victor Von Doom and showing how big of a threat that Victor Von Doom can be. And then after Secret Wars in 2027, we get another variant or multiple variants of Victor Von Doom. And then by hook or crook, however, we, banish the rest of them, but we end up with one of them. But that one that we end up with to go into future properties is not RDJ.
Yeah, I agree.
But yeah, I think that being able to, having the ability to be able to reach into a new universe and get a new Black Panther, I think is not necessary. But I think that, as much as I hate to say it, Letitia Wright's Black Panther didn't hold the same presence
No.
as Chadwick Boseman's did.
No.
And I'm not saying that, because she's a woman, she didn't have the same presence on screen. I think it's just her character, because her character, the way the way they introduced her in the first Black Panther was she's a tech genius,
Right.
but she's also young. So she didn't take the responsibility of the throne seriously.
Right.
She is not something that she wanted to do. Remember
Well, and
the fight for the title.
She also wasn't raised
Right, for that.
For that. She just took it on, and so it was just like she got thrown into it. So she didn't have the maturity for it. She didn't, because that was the whole thing. Her rage just consumed her, and she didn't know how to handle things. And she was reckless, and so it just didn't come off well, because T'Challa was so noble and so trained to take over the throne, while she got to hang in the lab and have fun creating all of these things, that when it just got thrown on her, there was like an immaturity. Jesus, me and Raph was just having this conversation about because the King's Speech was on earlier, and I was explaining to him why, like the whole premise of it, and why he had to get like speech therapy and a speech coach and stuff during World War II, because it's the same thing. He just got thrown into it. He didn't grow up. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about Queen Elizabeth's father, which is also what led to her getting the throne so damn young. But essentially, quick history lesson is the same thing. His brother was the king, so of course he was the oldest, and so growing up they trained him how to be a king. Like, oh well, you're gonna take the throne. When your daddy goes, give it up. And so they made sure he had like speech therapy and speech training and media training and all this stuff growing up. Whereas younger brother, well, you're not gonna be king. Your brother got kids. Your brother's gonna have kids and stuff, and you're not gonna be immediate line to the throne. So you have a speech impediment, but it's not that big a deal, and left him be. Well, then brother decides he wants to marry a twice divorced woman who they later found out was a Nazi sympathizer during World War II. But anyway, and so he gave up the throne. He was king and gave up the throne so he could marry this woman. So now all of a sudden he got thrown on little brother who has a speech problem, and now he gotta lead the country through World War II and give this big speech, and he barely can talk.
Yeah, I could put a sentence together.
Yeah, and without stuttering. And so that's what King's Speech was about, and that's kind of what happened to Shuri, and kind of with the movie in real life. Because I feel like it's the same thing with Letitia Wright in real life. It's like, oh, I'm having fun playing this character, and I'm the fun, bubbly character. Oh and no, my lead star has died, and now I have to be the hero.
Right.
Like, I have to be the main character. I have to lead the movie. Oh shit. Which granted, Wakanda Forever was a good way to say goodbye to T'Challa and the character and all that. Because I don't care what anybody said, just randomly recasting it would not have, the way the MCU is, just randomly recasting it would not have sufficed for anybody.
I mean, because we know that they did it in Iron Man, right? They recast Terrence Howard and put Don Cheadle in. They made like a little subtle nod to like, I'm here, we don't have to talk about it. Just deal with it.
Exactly.
Right. He wasn't a main character. He wasn't a lead.
He wasn't a War Machine yet.
Well, yeah, and he wasn't War Machine yet. So Rhodey at that point wasn't a significant part of Iron Man yet.
Yeah, he wasn't
right.
that.
And then the thing about it is that the MCU has done it. They did it with Edward Norton. They recast Mark Ruffalo as Bruce Banner. They did it with Terrence Howard, recast Don Cheadle. Mm-hmm. But even with the death of William Hurt and allowing Thunderbolt Ross to be in Captain America: Brave New World and put in Harrison Ford, they make a little comment about it, like, oh, well, lose the mustache, lose the election. Like, yeah, because of losing the mustache is going to change your entire facial structure. But the thing about it is that the impact that Chadwick Boseman made with the character of T'Challa and the
had-
significance that he had to that character. That's not something that you can just say, oh, well, we still want to keep the story that we originally created, so let's just go ahead and recast him.
Yeah, no.
And he'll, the new actor will just follow that same story.
My boy had little white kids want to be Black Panthers for Halloween, bro. I saw that shit. I said, come on now. This is the first time you see a white person want to be black.
and that's on Ryan Coogler for deciding that, well, instead of keeping my story and recasting T'Challa, I will just change the story and honor his significance and everything that he's done for the character, for the role, for the movie. And yeah, like you said, however long that rewrite took, and whenever Letitia got the new script and sees her new bigger responsibility now and everything that she has to do, and then on top of all of that, dealing with the emotional ramifications of losing someone that you had gotten so close to and spent so much time with, and still having to go back and you go back on the set and you hear his name and you see where he would have been and all this other kind of stuff. Who knows how hard it was for that entire cast and crew to be able to get through all of that,
Right.
and still to come out with an incredibly serviceable movie. It wasn't as great as Black Panther, but Wakanda Forever absolutely did its job in what it intended to do with honoring Chadwick Boseman and his character. But I think that I think, Creole, we had talked about this before. It was like when it was coming out, how people were talking about, oh, well, Shuri shouldn't be Black Panther and all this other kind of stuff. And, so many people were saying that because she was a woman. And you had right when, not too long after Chadwick had passed, of course, the question comes into play, well, what are they going to do with Black Panther? You had so many people were like, don't recast him, don't recast T'Challa, don't recast T'Challa. And so when they come out with the movie and Shuri the Black Panther, now everybody was like, oh, well, they should have just recast T'Challa and allow, T'Challa to still be the Black Panther. Shuri's too weak and all this other kind of stuff.
But it's I don't think anybody would have been happy with either outcome, because I feel like if they would have recast him, they'd have felt like, oh, well, y'all just acting like he's dispensable.
Right.
Y'all didn't even give it any closure or anything, because that was his role and da-da-da-da. But on the other side, if they'd have turned around and said, oh, well, we're not doing another Black Panther. Well, we need a Black Panther because,
for the culture.
And it's
for the culture.
Did I say the secret slime word or something?
You said the secret word, culture.
But yeah, it's Wakanda Forever did what it needed to do as far as bring closure to the cast, as far as being able to say goodbye to Chadwick Boseman, and all that stuff like that. And then now, with the multiverse, we can now recast it, whether that be Damson Idris or whoever.
It's gonna be Tom Hanks. Wakanda forever, maybe.
But whoever they do recast, I already feel sorry for them, because it's going to be. Yeah, they have huge shoes to fill. It's going to be an instant comparison to Chadwick, and even because what I think they'll probably do is they may cast another character, but not name him T'Challa. Yeah, I think they'll do something different.
Maybe we do a time jump where it's supposedly the son.
Then when it got T'Challa from a universe where he's older.
Established that at the end.
Yeah, because at the end of Wakanda Forever, he was what, 7, 8? I don't remember how old he was.
Yeah, because it was after the snap, and then not a couple years after he died, or maybe it was.
They do get his little black ass. I hope he don't have a this, because that's how the boy would say.
Because
he'll probably outgrow it. Chris Brown outgrew his list.
Because I don't think he died immediately after, because of course they had the Battle for Earth where he came back. So he came back, and I think Nakia was already pregnant before he blipped.
Right.
And so he came back, and T'Challa was 5 at that point, because they were going for 5 years. And then I don't remember how long he had been back before he passed in the movie. I don't remember what the timeline was at that
I
point.
want to know, what did he pass from? Did he eat a bad pork sandwich or?
Well, they made it seem like it was cancer.
Man, fuck that. It got to be some space cancer. It couldn't be no regular cancer that got him.
Hey,
This Wakanda. It had to be some motherfucking.
cancer's cancer.
This nigga fucked a green bitch, and
I mean, even a heart-shaped herb can't beat cancer. I guess.
Damn.
It's super strength. It doesn't make you like invincible. Like,
but the
immortal.
science they have over there, that's what I'm saying. The technology and all that shit.
But you gotta think about it.
But they even said that he didn't say anything.
Yeah, he didn't say anything until it was too late.
That was Shuri. Shuri was like, if you would have just told me, I could have figured it out. And that was like that was her regret, because she was like, she felt that she could have done something to save him, but since she didn't know, she couldn't devote any time or energy to it.
Selfish bastard.
I mean, that was just like he was in real life. Nobody
that's
knew.
how it was with real life. He kept it from everybody.
Right.
That is terrible.
That is foul. Oh, that is out of line.
That's for me. That's like, I'm not doing it as like, oh, sorry he died, but I'm really like sad that, he passed, man.
That's terrible.
No, terrible would have been this. But anyway. But look, I enjoyed this conversation, but I have to get ready for work, you guys. So we're going to have to end it on this note until next time. Spyder, it's always a pleasure, my brother, to have you on here. Talking with you, speaking with you and everything. And,
see, he's at home, so if he got groceries delivered, he ain't got to leave.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Because that'd be a motherfucker if he was down here and he had to leave to go get groceries delivered in Canada.
That would be ridiculous.
I'm like, so.
Like, yeah, I got to go hop on a flight. Got to go grab my
You got a private jet waiting outside for you, my boy, or something that we don't know about?
Nah.
Not yet.
If that was the case, you'd probably see me a lot more often.
But not yet. We're gonna speak that to existence. One of these damn podcasts gonna take off, man. One of them. I got so many lines of avenue of money, investments for people whenever I break off.
We'll be fine. Canada's gonna invade the U.S. and take over and punish us with their free healthcare.
No, not free healthcare. Communist motherfuckers.
Not free healthcare and low drug prices. No.
You want me to be able to take care of myself? What's wrong with you? That is not the American way. I'm pulling up on my bootstraps. My bootstraps. Where those fans at? Hey, where those fans at?
Oh, Jesus.
Where those fans? You're going to be hearing it all Sunday tomorrow. Whoa. Did you get your wife an Easter basket?
No.
Oh, okay, cool.
I mean, look, you already know tomorrow is a special day, but not because of Easter.
What's tomorrow?
Tomorrow is April 20th.
Hey, 420. You got her that kind of basket? A 420 basket? You got some 420 treats? Something?
I mean, we always have them on hand, but
that's what I'm talking about. On deck. My little guy, he gave me an Easter bunny. I ate a piece of his ears last night. I don't know where I put him at. But yeah. But sorry guys. We could go on and on with that shit too. But like I said, it's always a pleasure to have you on here, Mr. Spyder. Once more, go ahead and put in your plugs for your social media, your podcast. Please make sure y'all subscribe to ATS. That is not ass, tits, or sex. Okay? It's not. It's what it's called again?
It's all things super.
All things super.
Yeah, if you enjoy the MCU talk and the superhero talk, we do a lot of it over there. So yeah, come check us out.
That's right, man. That's right. So what you got planned for the rest of the day?
We are going cat sitting.
Oh, that's so nice.
Yeah, we're going cat sitting, and then we got to get some stuff for our cat, because he just had a birthday almost a week ago.
Oh, about a week ago.
Yeah, so he's still getting all his presents and his treats and stuff. So
nice. Creole, anything you'd like to say before we roll?
Miss you, cuz.
Oh,
Miss you too.
well. If you want to see her and her sister will be at the Chris Brown concert in October. So if you want to come down, that's where they're gonna be at.
We in there.
Yeah, in there my ass. Anyway, you guys, I'm going on that note. We thank y'all for listening, tuning in as always. I'm about to call you BJ. T Spyder. Thank
Don't you
you.
start that.
My bad, bro. Like I said, once again, thank you for sitting in with us and having this lovely conversation. Until the next time, I wish all is well with you up there in Canada. Hold it down for us. Creole, go ahead and end this thing.
It's been another episode, but yeah.
Peace. Holla.
Oh yeah. It's your girl Creole. Let's go. It's your girl Creole. It's your boy Retro. It's your boy Retro. It's your boy Retro. Retro. It's your boy Retro. Let's go. It's Creole. Let's go. It's Creole. Let's go. Your girl Creole. Let's go. Your girl Creole. Oh yeah. It's your girl Creole. Let's go. It's your girl Creole.